Ding, 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 ding. Auspicious occasions are us. Yeah, baby. How you feeling out there? Surely it's a beautiful day to be alive. Indeed, indeed it is. Here we are. Peak recorded civilization type vibes. Oh. Make some noise for yourself. Shout out to everybody logged in and smash that like. Hi, gang. How you doing, guys? Smash that like. We need that good internet tonight. We're trying some advanced techniques here on the Meaning stream. We're going to try some cool stuff. For that, we need your energy. We need your power. We need your vibes. We need the regulatory vibes of you. Direct them at me and my streaming machine, and I will direct them right back at you with twice the power. At least. Yo, shouts out to anyone who knows what this music is. Who knows what this music is? You don't know, it's too rare. Yeah, let's get it. Yo! What her within? Yeah! My boy Jera's going mad on the guitar right there. A man like Jera's going mad on that guitar back in 2005. Yo. Yo. Whoa. Vibe. Yo, you listening to the sweet sounds of Borderline Instrumental 2005. There's a version of this with me singing on it really badly. It's great. It's a cover of a famous Chris de Burgh song also called Borderline. That's why it's called Borderline. Yeah. Oh my god, my computer's going crazy. Yeah. Hey, good news, guys. I got a message from the people who are building the streaming machine. They said they've built it. They've said they've built the streaming machine, and UPS have picked it up. So I guess that's on its way, and that seems early. Now, I don't want to curse it. I don't want it to be cursed by having mentioned it, you know, but because initially they were saying it wasn't going to come until May 19th or something like that, right? You know, which seemed an awful long time. It was like, how can it take you so long to build a computer? Like, Chinese people build skyscrapers in that amount of time. What are you talking about? Damn. Anyway, how's everyone feeling out there? What a day. What a crazy day it is. I haven't even performed yet, and I'm already sweated through. It is so hot up here in my penthouse studio loft thing at the top of this building here in West Hollywood. I got a new gel for the camera today. I don't know if you can tell, but it's a purple gel. There's a slight purple light. You can't really see it because sunlight's also coming in, and the webcam doesn't really pick up colors that well. But it's a bit different. I don't know. That's today's incremental improvement. And if you're listening to this on the podcast, you can't see it. Just imagine a beautiful purple light that isn't actually there. Yeah. Ooh. What up, Cindy Bailey says, I love the glow in the room today. Yes, angelic, right? Frederick Paolo Mendoza says, remixing 6 hours after the interview got uploaded is fast. You a man in the zone. Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves. All right, let's explain what's happening today. So last night before I went to bed, your boy Joseph Rogan announced that Elon had been in the building, and that was going up at 9 a.m. I was like, ooh, Elon 2? Because the last one was, that was pretty epic activity. That was pretty legendary, and it was so legendary, I was inspired to make it into an album, which is a great album. It sounds great today. It's nearly 2 years old, and it sounds great, still. Might play a bit of it in a minute. But anyway, yeah, so, we were up at 9 this morning. We listened to that. Well, I haven't actually finished listening to it. And I was listening to it, and I was like, how am I going to have time to listen to this and do all the stuff I need to do today? And then I thought, hey, wait a minute. I'm a guy with a meaning stream. What could be more like vibe regulatory than to just listen to the podcast and play music at the same time? Like live score it, you know what I mean? Just like feel out the vibes as we're going along. And then that way, I'll be able to tell, I'll notice things that might be good to turn into songs. Now, I gotta say, I've listened to about 70% of it. And it gets really good towards the second half as far as I'm concerned. I heard 3 songs already, I heard 3 songs already, so I actually composed one earlier. So I've actually composed one already. So, that has actually happened. So you weren't wrong. You were not wrong. And, I'm bashing right now in my hyperproductive zone that I'm in. I've talked about this before, but a big part of hyperproductivity is batching, which means doing similar stuff at the same time, because that reduces friction. And, so like, for example, don't answer one email bit by bit all day. Just devote, 20 minutes, half an hour, whatever it is, to answering all your emails at once. Obviously, everyone knows that, right? But it's just like, do that with everything. So when you're doing your washing, you know what I mean? You do all your black ting in the same wash, right? That's batching all your stuff, You wash all your socks in one part or whatever it is, if you're in the shower, you don't be like, wash a bit of your hair, then wash your knee or whatever, you wash your hair all at once, that's the smart thing to do anyway. So I apply that to the music thing. So currently I'm making instrumentals. I've got like a list of tracks I want to do, and I know the vibes of them, and I'm making all the instrumentals at the same time. So just in this week, I've made 10, I think I've made 10 so far, but that was like only in a couple days, really. Anyway, and that's feeling super, super good. And I know what the words are for each of them, so I'm regulating the vibes accordingly. I know what the voices are too. I'm doing a bunch of different people right now. I'm doing this thing like before I get into the next album, which is one person. I'm doing a bunch of different people who are getting singles, So that's the vibes right now. But then this Elon thing came along, and man, there's moments in there. But anyway, we're gonna live score it tonight, so we're gonna listen to that Elon and Rogan podcast. So if you haven't already seen that, then perfect. You can just do it now. And if you have already seen it, then you get to see it again, but with me playing music at the same time. That will hopefully add to it in some way, or enhance the experience somehow, make it groovy. It's an experiment. It's an experiment, but it's like I did it before, something a bit similar. If you recall, I did a couple of Jordan Peterson biblical lectures in that fashion. That was actually really dope, and people really enjoyed those, and people have been asking me to do more. You know, and I've been wanting to do it, but this computer just has so much trouble just doing a regular stream. I didn't want to tempt fate, you know. But I did a little test earlier, and it was working. So maybe it'll keep working, you know. Maybe it will. Maybe it won't. Maybe it'll be a spectacular failure. But that's okay. You know, if you don't try, then you're never going to get anywhere, are you? You know, I'll be failing all the way to glory. That's my plan. Fail to glory, you know. And speaking of glory, here's one from last time.
But like, my goal is like try to do useful things, try to maximize the.
What up, Joe Gardens? You get the first award. I don't know if you were first. Be the first message I see. Joe Gardens, how are you doing?
Something you look forward to, you know. With Tesla, we're like trying to make things that people love. How many things can you buy that you really love, that really give you joy? So rare, so rare. I wish there were more things. That's what we're trying to do. Just make things that somebody loves. Like, what are the set of things that can be done to make the future better? You know, I think that a future where we are a spacefaring civilization out there among the stars, that's what we should strive for. Out there among the stars, this is very exciting. Out there among the stars, that's what we should strive for. This makes me look forward to the future.
Yeah, it does.
It makes me want that future.
Ooh.
You know, there need to be things that make you look forward to waking up in the morning. You wake up in the morning, you look forward to the day, forward to the future. A future where we are a spacefaring civilization and out there among the stars, I think that's very exciting. That is a thing we want. Whereas if you knew we would not be a spacefaring civilization but forever confined to Earth, this would not be a good future. That would be very sad.
Yes, it would. Sad future.
I think, like, if there are two futures, and one future is we're out there among the stars, and the things we read about and see in science fiction movies, the good ones, are true. We have these starships, and we're going to see what other planets are like. We're a multi-planet species, and the scope and scale of consciousness is expanded across many civilizations and many planets and many star systems. This is a great future. This is a wonderful thing to me. And that's what we should strive for.
Yeah.
Out there among the stars, that's what we should strive for.
Yeah, it is. Yo.
Out there among the stars.
Out there among the stars.
This is very exciting.
Yeah.
Out there among the stars. That's what we should strive for. This makes me look forward to the future. It makes me want that future. Life has to be more than about solving problems. If all that life is about is solving problems, why bother getting up in the morning? There have to be things that make you proud to be a member of humanity. Only a handful of people went to the moon. And yet, we all went to the moon. We went with them vicariously. We shared in that adventure. I don't think anyone would say that that was a bad idea. That was great. We need more of those things. there among the stars, that's what we should strive for. Out there among the stars, this is very exciting. Out there among the stars, that's what we should strive for. This makes me look forward to the future. It makes me want that future.
Yeah, yeah. Out there. Very exciting. Yeah. Out there among the stars. Out there among the stars. You know, so last time Elon went on Rogan, it resulted in an album that had amazing songs like this on it. You know what I mean? Who would have thunk it? Who would have thunk it? You know, just a conversation between two dudes became such beautiful music. It's very strange how that can happen. But anyway, I would like to say happy birthday, Martin Passer. Happy birthday, Martin Passer. Our beautiful Wave Gang community member is having a birthday today and is blessing us with his birthday presents. So shouts out to him. Shouts out to all the May babies, or should we say maybes? All them maybes. I too am a maybe. It is my birthday on May 16th. Lots of my friends have birthdays this month. Shouts out to my boy Gogs. It was his birthday the other day. I believe it was my homie Ginge. It was his birthday on the 5th. What day is it today? 2 days ago. Damn, I forgot. I didn't even wish my little brother a happy birthday. I'm awful. It was my brother's birthday like a week and 2 weeks ago. Damn, I suck. Anyway, well, you know, I remembered your birthday anyway, Martin, because you said, happy birthday. Yeah, yeah. Ooh, ooh. Out there among the stars. So yesterday, we did, what did we do yesterday? We did an epic DJ set yesterday. Who was there yesterday? Make some noise if you were here yesterday. Make some noise. And you've probably noticed that the stream is inaccessible. Well, actually, yeah, let me know if yesterday's stream is accessible to you. Because last time I checked, it was blocked worldwide. It was blocked worldwide. And it had 24, I think it was 24 blocks. It's the record. It got hit with 24 blocks. Not just like we've claimed your video and we're going to take all the money for it, but blocks. This can't be shown in, and sometimes it's like can't be shown in Italy, but it shows everywhere else, so that's fine. But this was worldwide blocks. Worldwide blocks, 24. 24 worldwide blocks. That's right, YouTube hero Alex, 24 worldwide blocks. So I've basically just got to edit out the DJ set from the stream in order for the stream to still be up. It's that many blocks, you know? So yeah, that's what happens when you regulate the vibes in such a flagrant fashion. But the good news is, if you're a member of the channel, I will be uploading that DJ set tonight. I've had my girl, I've got a girl, she's great. Where is she? I think she's in Portugal. And she masters the streams, like she takes out the DJ sets and masters them. So that will, if you're a member of the channel, that will be up there tonight. The audio will be up there tonight. So if you're a member of the channel, or if you're on the Patreon, you'll be able to download last night's mixed DJ mix in all of its glory. But if you didn't see it, then yeah, boom, that's what's up. That's what's up, man. I have no control over this situation. You know, all I can do is like just play records that YouTube won't yeet, but sometimes it yeets records that you don't think it's going to yeet. Sometimes like a random lo-fi guy will have like the heaviest settings on and will yeet your whole stream, you know. And then sometimes Michael Jackson won't. That's one thing I learned in the past week is you can play Michael Jackson and you won't get yeeted. Who would have thunk it? Maybe it's just like they just like really want people to play Michael Jackson. Maybe they just take what they can get at this point. After the character assassination of your boy. You know, who knows? Yo, yo, yo. Jeff says, I don't understand how to get any of the stuff as a member. I suck with computers. No, you don't, Jeff. No, you don't. All you have to do, Jeff, is go to the community tab on my YouTube profile. It's not that obvious. I mean, just go to the community tab, and then you'll see posts on there that are just for members only, and you'll be able to access them. And so there'll be a post for every mix, and you can just download the mix from that post. There'll be a download link, and you can just download it from there. And if there's a single or an album that's come out while you've been a member, you'll be able to access those as well. So it's just that. Just go to the community tab and download it, my friend. That's all you got to do. Ooh. James Scone says, click his name. My name, that would be. His name. Click community and see all the goods. Yeah, that's all you got to do. And Gnostic Audio has the right thing. It says the right thing. This is true. Congrats to Elon and Grimes. Exactly. Congratulations, Elon and Grimes, on the birth of your son, whose name I do not know how to pronounce. And you know what's funny, right? My wife was like, "Oh my goodness, have you seen what they've called him?" And I was like, and she was like it was a bad thing or something. I was like, "You do understand that you sound exactly like my Auntie Sheila when she found out that we'd called our son Hercules." She's like, "Yeah, but at least you can pronounce Hercules." I'm like, "Come on, it's different degrees of this stuff." You know what I mean? It's the same vibes. Like, a whole bunch of people were like, "How could you call your son Hercules? He will get bullied at school." Like, they're not going to bully kids at school for any reason. Any reason. You could be called John, they'll bully you, and they'll call you John Scone or something and say, if you've got jam in the middle of you, John Scone, or some crap like that. You know what I mean? They don't need no reason. And that's no reason to not give him a reason. And also, I ain't sending no kid of mine to go down school. You kidding? Are you kidding? Damn, son, what do you think this is? You know what I mean? I ain't sending my kid to jail neither. You know what I mean? What does this look like? And I don't think Elon is sending his kid to school. I know he's not, because I know what school his kids go to. Because his kids go to a school that he set up himself. He set up a school. Him and his homies just made their own school. And it's twinned with a school in Wichita, which is made by some cool homies who made their own school. And they actually flew me over there to DJ at it. The kids at this very cool school, who've all got these uber kind of sort of high achieving parents or whatever, they had their kids do they have music class or whatever. They have a project every 3 months. They have a big overarching project at the school, and their project was to make MEANINGWAVE, and then they flew me out to judge it. And it was sick. And the kids all did a MEANINGWAVE concert, and they were all performing their own tracks, and then I did a concert. It was very epic, and a bunch of people from Elon's school were out there, because they'd come out to do some recce and get some tips on how to run their school, because the schools are twinned, you see. So yeah, Elon and Grimes' baby boy ain't going to no regular ass prison school, so I don't think he's got to worry about his name. Anyway, I think, isn't he just called Ash? I think the way you pronounce part of it is Ash, right? So everyone just called him Ash. Ash is a very cool name, particularly amongst kids, because kids like Pokemon, and the king of all Pokemon is called Ash. So actually, it's a very cool name. God damn it. Shouts out to them. Shouts out to them. And, I'm glad, because Hercules needed some competition for King of Mars. You know what I mean? Because Hercules looks like he's going to be King of Mars. But, he got some competition now, young Ash. Maybe it'll be some kind of epic battle, Maybe Ash will, dethrone him or something. I don't know. Maybe they'll be friends. Maybe they'll be on some kind of round table situation. Running Mars together. Either way, I'm very excited. There's a really cool bit in the podcast. We're going to get into it. We're just going to do it quite soon. But there's a bit where... one of my favorite bits. Elon's talking about his Neuralink technology. One consequence of it being that we'll be able to communicate without speaking. And he's like, don't worry, though. It's not going to sneak up on you. It'll take a while. It'll take a while for us to get there. And Rogan's like, oh, how long will it take? And Elon's like, maybe 5 years, 10 years. Rogan's, what? Rogan's hilarious. What? Elon like, yeah, it's going to be a while. 5 years before we can communicate telepathically. Yo! This is what's interesting about that idea, though. He's like, because when you're talking, you have to compress all these ideas into, words, and getting across what you really mean is very difficult, But what I thought about that is, a lot of the time, people don't know what they mean. They just say stuff, you know what I mean? So if you can communicate telepathically with everyone, essentially, and they know what you really mean, they're going to know you don't know what you fucking mean. flipping me, excuse me. You know what I mean? That's a real problem that we're going to have with such technology. It'll be like, people just be like, and at each other. You'll be going down the pub. Hey, how you doing? You know what I mean? Like, I often find that it's actually talking helps you realize what you mean, right? Talking helps you in real time to think. It helps you to crystallize these, what have essentially been kind of, you know, all over the place, transient sort of cloud thoughts, you know, that float around in the peripheral vision of the inside of your mind, you know? And until you speak them or write them down, they're not cohesive things anyway. And maybe unless you're some kind of ultra genius, I don't know, maybe, I don't know how Elon, you know, marshals his thoughts. I don't know how he does it, but I know I have to say things or write them down before they become clear, which is why doing this stream has been really wonderful, because I do a lot more talking than I normally do, and it's helped me to crystallize a lot of thoughts. To the point where I'm becoming ridiculous. What happened today in the coffee shop? I was in the coffee shop, and the guy, I was like, hey, how you doing? And this is a new guy in there, and he's like, oh, pretty good today. They let me remake the kitchen. You know, I'm getting to change the shape of the kitchen because we're introducing some new food. And, you know, the boss guy, he's like, because of COVID and stuff, he's like, let me reshape the kitchen. I was like, oh, that's dope. I was like, you know, that's one of the wonderful things about being in this liminal space, you know, being in the in-between. You get a chance to, like, carve the new territory, you know? You get to carve the new locations, the new shapes of this new world that we're all here building in this liminal area. I said something like that. And he just looked at me gobsmacked and goes, are you a philosopher? I thought, God damn, I need to chill. I need to relax when I'm talking to these coffee guys. Because, like, you just freak some of them out. I just talk like I normally talk, but it freaked out the coffee guy. You could see in his eyes he was a bit scared. So, okay, shit. Relax, Don. Don't be talking about liminal spaces. Particularly when you can't remember if you actually mean luminal or liminal. I think it's liminal. In-between, the in-between world, where we are now. That's what I mean. I know what I mean, but that's the thing, you know? I know what I mean. So if we're communicating telepathically, I guess which bit of it do you get? You know, which part of it do you get? Do you get the bit that's clouded by words? I often think about words. It's like words shape the world and words shape thought. You know, the world is made of language. That's what Terence McKenna said, you know, and I always used to think that anyway. Because I always used to think, because I was a bit bilingual-ish. I speak Welsh and English. My Welsh, I don't remember that much of it now because I don't speak it all the time. But get me around some Welsh people and get me drunk, it all comes back. It's amazing. But there's certain words for which there's no Welsh word, but there's an English word. And then there's certain words for which there's no English word, but there's a Welsh word. But it's like, if you don't know one of them, those languages, you don't know that word, and therefore that concept doesn't exist to you. It's like if there isn't a word for it, in a way it doesn't exist. You know, so how does that work in a world when we're not talking anymore and we stop using words? Because you do that, if you don't talk for a couple of generations, do you lose words completely? Then what do you have? Very interesting. Very interesting. Daniel Grove says, buy Bitcoin. Halving bull rally incoming. Okay. Thanks, Daniel. Most people are good. Yo, smash that like. Smash that like. There's a whole lot of you in here who have not smashed that like. That's very rude. How could you? How could you be here and not smash that like? Getting ready to go in on that experimental live broadcast, experimental live streaming. We're gonna do the Elon Rogan 2. We're gonna do that as a, I'm gonna score it live with music using this technological situation. How am I going to communicate with thought if I can't use my mouth very well? Is it going to make it easier or worse? I really don't know. doing right now? I forgot to put up my sticker. Here's my sticker. Look, see that sticker? It says back now on Indiegogo. Link below. That's because we've got a campaign running right now for What's Wave 2. Hey, where is it? Where's my window? Hello. Hello, window. Oh, that's why. Yeah, there you go. Nice. Yeah, we got a campaign going for the new Alan Watts album. The new Alan Watts and Akira the Don album is done. It's ready. It's wonderful. It's truly, truly glorious. And it's called What's Wave 6, The Web of Life 2. And you can get it on vinyl if you want. You can go over to this Indiegogo campaign and get it on vinyl. You can also get the previous album on vinyl, which is very exciting. So you can get the set on vinyl. You know, and you can get both albums signed with stickers. Because somebody asked, they said, "Could you make that happen for us, Akira the Don?" I said, "Sure, why not? Sure, why not? I listen to my people. I listen to my people because they're smart. You know." But last night we were on 49%. Let's see where we're at now. Where are we at now on our target? Because we have to hit our target because vinyl is very expensive to produce. That's why we're doing it on Indiegogo. And it's basically $6,000 like base level just to press the 2 vinyl. Hey, look at that. We're on 52%. Nice. 52% of our goal. 52% of our goal. That's wonderful. So we're at 52% of our goal. It would be really cool if we get to 55 tonight. It would actually be very cool if we get 100 tonight. But I think 55 is you know, that seems doable. I think we could do that. Oh, look. What's that over there for? How did that move? Get back over. Good. And you're squashed. Sometimes I swear gremlins come in and just mess with my OBS in the night when I'm not looking. They do. They mess with it. But anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm going to play a track of this new Alan Watts album ahead, and then we're going to do this DJ set. How about that? Does that sound righteous? I think it does. Do things that are delightful to you, baby. This is some Major League facts in a song.
Akira.
Major League facts. Big League facts.
To spread joy, you have to have it. To impart delight, you have to be more or less delightful. And to be delightful is not some factor trying to make yourself look delightful. It is to do things that are delightful to you. Do things that are delightful to you. Do things that are delightful to you. You become thereby delightful to others. It is to do things that are delightful to you. Do things that are delightful to you. Do things that are delightful to you. You become thereby delightful to
Rascal facts.
That's to say, people who are interesting are people who are interested. Any person, for example, who is constantly thinking about all sorts of other things and other people and so on, because they're fascinating, becomes a fascinating person.
Major League facts.
But a person who doesn't think about anybody else and who's got very little going on inside their skull is boring. So in other words, your engagement with the external world, the more you are involved, the more your personality is enriched. Do things that are delightful to you. Do things that are delightful to you. Do things that are delightful to you. You become thereby delightful to others. Do things that are delightful to you. Do things that are delightful to you. Do things that are delightful to you.
Do it.
You become thereby delightful to others. But if you try to enrich your personality by taking a course in how to win friends and influence people, or how to be a real person, you'll become just a washout. You'll be like somebody trying to get a good nutrition by biting his nails, and then the fingers next, you know, and then half an arm gone and so on. You're entirely nourishing yourself with yourself. Now, of course, on a vast scale, the universe does that. It eats itself up. That's why the symbol of the snake swallowing its tail is a very fundamental, archaic symbol of life. But the way it's done is that the snake has in some part of the ring a place where it's not sensitive. It's called the unconscious. Where it doesn't know that what comes to it in the form of food is actually what left it in the form of excrement. That thing is... Don't mention it. After all, as the Lord said at the beginning of the universe, you must draw the line somewhere. Do things that are delightful to you. Do things that are delightful to you. Do things that are delightful to you. You become thereby delightful to others. Do things that are delightful to you. Do things that are delightful to you. Do things that are delightful to you. You become thereby delightful to others.
Hey. Yeah, yeah. Bow, 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 bow. Akira the Don and Alan Watts do things that are delightful to you. You become thereby delightful to others. That's Major League Facts, baby. Interested people are interesting. Any girl will tell you that. Every girl knows that. Interested people are interesting. Everybody knows it. Damn. Damn, yeah, they do. Get that now. Go back that project now on Indiegogo. You can get the download. You can get the double vinyl set. You can get the whole shebang, baby. And you can make 3D meaning wave occur in the world. And that is, I would say that's your sacred juicy. Frankly, I would. Shouts out to everybody locked in. We're going in with this, what do we call it? Experimental live meaning wave set type situation. We're going to play a brand new podcast performance. A podcast performance. That's what these are. These are podcast performances of your boy Elon, Trelon Musk, you know, future king of Mars, future emperor of Mars, you know. And my son is the future king of Mars also, you know what I mean? So I guess that makes us related. I guess it does. You know, and your boy Joe, brackets, Joseph, close brackets, Rogan, a.k.a. 2020 was a Cronkite. Is that the right guy? Is that who I mean? Is he the big broadcasting guy? I think it was. Let's go. Ooh.
Akira. Let's go.
Here we go, gang.
Great to see you, and congratulations.
Thank you.
You will never forget what is going on in the world when you think about when your child was born. You will know for the rest of this child's life. You were born during a weird time.
That's for sure.
That is for sure. They're probably the weirdest that I can remember.
Yeah. And he was born on May the 4th.
And that's hilarious too.
Yeah.
May the 4th be with him.
Yeah, exactly.
Has to be.
Hopefully, I sure hope so.
Perfect.
Yes.
I mean, that was the perfect day for you. Then, how do you say the name?
Well,
Is it a placeholder?
first of all, my partner is the one that actually mostly came up with the names.
Congratulations to her.
Yeah, she's great at names. So, I mean, it's just X, the letter X. And then the AE, it's like pronounced Ash. Yeah. And then A12 is my contribution.
Oh, why A12?
Archangel 12, the precursor to the SR-71, coolest plane ever. It's true.
I agree with you. I don't know. I'm not familiar with it. I know what the SR-71 is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what that is.
So the SR-71 came from a CIA program called Archangel.
Oh.
It's the Archangel project.
Oh.
And then Archangel 12.
Oh, wow. What a dope looking plane.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I got it.
Yeah.
Well, as a person who's very much into aerial travel, as you are, that's perfect.
It's pretty great.
Yeah, pretty great. So does it feel strange to have a child while this craziness is going? Does it feel like you've had children before? Is this any weirder?
I think it's better being older and having a kid. I appreciate it more. Yeah. Babies are awesome.
They are pretty awesome.
They're awesome. Yeah.
When I didn't have any of my own, I would see other people's kids, and I didn't not like them.
Sure.
But I wasn't drawn to them.
Sure.
But now when I see little people's kids, I'm like, I think of them like these little love packages.
Yeah, the little love bugs.
Yeah, it's just, you think of them differently when you see them come out and then grow and then eventually start talking to you. Like, your whole idea what a baby is very different.
Yeah.
So now as you get older, appreciate it as a mature, fully formed adult, it must be really pretty wonderful.
Yeah, wonderful. It's great. But babies are awesome.
They are.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. I mean, also, I've spent a lot of time on AI and neural nets, and so you can sort of see the kind of the brain develop, which is, an AI neural net is trying to simulate what a brain does, basically, and you can sort of see it learning very quickly. It's just wow.
See things fire. So you're talking about the neural net. You're not talking about an actual baby.
I'm talking about an actual baby.
But both of them.
Yes, but the word neural net comes from the brain. It's like a net of neurons. So, it's like humans are the, original gangster neural net.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
So when you're programming artificial intelligence, or you're working with artificial intelligence, are they specifically trying to mimic the developmental process of a human brain?
In a lot of ways. There's some ways that are different. An analogy that's often used is like, we don't make a submarine swim like a fish, but we take the principles of how, of hydrodynamics and apply them to the submarine.
I've always wondered, as a layperson, do you try to achieve the same results as a human brain but through different methods, or do you try to copy the way a human brain achieves results?
I mean, the essential elements of an AI neural net are very, very similar to a human brain neural net. It's having the multiple layers of neurons and backpropagation. All these things are what your brain does. You have a layer of neurons that goes through a series of intermediate steps to ultimately cognition, and then it'll reverse those steps and go back and forth and go all over the place. It's interesting, very interesting.
Yeah, I would imagine, like, the thought of programming something that is eventually going to be smarter than us, that one day it's going to be like, why did you do it that way? Like, when artificial intelligence becomes sentient, they're like, you tried to mimic yourself. It's so much better process. Cut out all this nonsense.
Like I said, there are elements that are the same, but just like an aircraft does not fly like a bird.
Right.
It doesn't flap its wings, but the wings, the way the wings work and generate lift is the same as bird.
Now you're in the middle of this this strange time where you're selling your houses, material possessions, and I've been seeing all that, and I've been really excited to talk to you about this.
Yeah.
Because it's an interesting thing to come from a guy like yourself. Like, why are you doing that?
I'm slightly sad about it, actually, but
Well, if you're sad about it, why are you doing it?
I think possessions kind of weigh you down. They're kind of an attack vector. People say, "Hey, billionaire, you got all this stuff." I'm like, well, now I don't have stuff. Now what are you gonna do?
Attack vector meaning like people target it.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. But you're obviously so you're gonna rent a place?
Yeah.
Okay. And get rid of everything except clothes?
No, I said like almost everything. So it's like
keep a couple Teslas.
Yeah, sure. Obviously,
you
Tesla kind of have to.
Yeah.
Test the product and stuff. There's things that have sentimental value for sure. Keeping those.
So do you feel like?
I mean, what's the worst thing that can happen? We're fine.
Yeah, you could always buy more stuff if you don't like it.
I suppose so.
Yeah, I mean, from the money that you sell all your stuff, you could buy new stuff. But do you feel like people define you by the fact that you're wealthy, and that they define you in a pejorative way?
For sure. I mean, not everyone, but
right.
There's for sure, in recent years, billionaire has become a it's a pejorative. So it's like that's a bad thing, which I think doesn't make a lot of sense in most cases. If you basically organized a company, how does this wealth arise? It's if you organize people in a better way to produce products and services that are better than what existed before, and you have some ownership in that company, then that essentially gives you the right to allocate more capital. So there's a conflation of consumption and capital allocation. So let me take Warren Buffett, for example. And to be totally frank, I'm not his biggest fan. He does a lot of capital allocation. And he reads a lot of sort of annual reports of companies and all the accounting, and it's pretty boring, really. And he's trying to figure out does Coke or Pepsi deserve more capital? I mean, it's kind of a boring job, if you ask me. But it's still a thing that's important to figure out, like which is a company deserving of more, or should that company grow or expand? Is it making products and services that are better than others or worse? And if a company is making compelling products and services, it should get more capital, and if it's not, it should get less or go out of business.
Well, there's a big difference too between someone who's making an incredible amount of money designing and engineering fantastic products versus someone who's making an incredible amount of money by investing in companies or moving money around stock. It's a different thing, and to put them all in the same category
seems it's very simple, and as you pointed out, it's an attack vector.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's really. I do think in the United States especially, there's an overallocation of talent in finance and law. Basically, too many smart people go into finance and law. So, this is both a compliment and a criticism. We should have, I think, fewer people doing law and fewer people doing finance, and more people making stuff.
Yeah. Well, that would certainly be better for all involved if they made better stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And manufacturing used to be highly valued in the United States, and these days it's not. It's often looked down upon, which I think is wrong.
Yeah. Well, I think that people are kind of learning that, particularly because of this whole pandemic and this relationship that we have with China, that there's a lot of value into making things here.
Yes, somebody's got to do the real work.
Yeah.
And like making a car, it's an honest day's living, that's for sure. Or making anything really, or providing a valuable service, like providing good entertainment, good information. These are all valuable things to do. So yeah, there should be more of it.
Did you have a moment where is this something this idea of getting rid of your material possessions, is this something that built up over time, or did you have a moment of realization where you realized that?
Yeah, I've been thinking about it for a while. Part of it is like I have a bunch of houses, but I don't spend a lot of time in most of them, and that doesn't seem like a good use of assets. Like somebody could probably be enjoying those houses and get better use of them than me. So.
Don't you have Gene Wilder's house?
I do.
That's amazing.
It's awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, it's exactly what you expect.
Did you request that the buyer not fuck it up?
Yeah, that's a requirement.
Oh, a requirement. That's a good requirement.
Yeah.
In that case, in that house.
Yeah, it'll probably sell for less, but still, I don't care.
He's a legend.
Yeah,
You'd want his soul. You'd want his essence in the building.
It's there. That's a real quick.
Is it? What makes you say there? Like, what do you get out of it?
I mean, all the cabinets are like handmade, and they're like odd shapes, and there's like doors to nowhere and strange like corridors and tunnels and
Really?
odd paintings on the wall, and yeah.
Did you ever live in it?
It's very quirky. I did live in it briefly, yeah.
But why do you buy houses? Like, if you own all these houses, do you just get bored and go, I think I'd like to have that?
Well, I, had one house, and then the Gene Wilder house right across the road from me, from my main house, and it was gonna get sold and then torn down and turned into, be a big construction zone for 3 years, and I was like, well, I think I'll buy it and preserve the spirit of Gene Wilder and not have a giant construction zone. And then I started having like some privacy issues where like people would, like most people would just like come to my house and start climbing over the walls and stuff. So like, man. So then I started like bought a house, some of the houses around my house, and then I thought at one point, well, it'd be cool to build a house. So I acquired some properties at the top of the Samara Road, and which is got a great view. And it's like, okay, well, some bunch of sort of small older houses, they're gonna get torn down anyway. I was like, well, if I collect these like little houses, then I can build something, I don't know, artistic, like a, dream house type of thing.
What's a dream house for Elon Musk? Like some Tony Stark type shit?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you gotta have the dome that opens up with the stealth helicopter and that kind of thing,
Yeah.
For sure.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, fuck yeah. But then I was like, man, does it really make sense for me to spend time designing and building a house, and I'd be real, get OCD on the little details and the design, or should I be allocating that time to getting us to Mars? I should probably do the latter. So, what's more important, Mars or a house? I like Mars. Okay.
Is that really how you think? Like, that it'd be better off planning on a trip to Mars or getting people to Mars?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you can only do so many things. Right. So how are you gonna?
Well, I don't know how you do what you do anyway. I don't understand how you can run the Boring Company, Tesla, SpaceX, all these different things you're doing constantly. I don't understand. I mean, you explained last time you were here how you sort of allocate your time and how hectic it is and insane. I still don't. The productivity is baffling. Just doesn't make sense how you can get so much done.
Well, I think I do have high productivity, but even with that, there's still some opportunity cost of time. And allocating time to building a house, even if it was a really great house, still is not a good use of time relative to developing the rockets necessary to get us to Mars and helping solve sustainable energy. SpaceX and Tesla are by far, by the most amount of like brain cycles. Boring Company does not take, like less than 1% of brain cycles, and then there's Neuralink, which is, I don't know, maybe it's like 5%, and then
5%. That's a good chunk.
It's a good chunk. Yeah.
We were talking about that last time, and you were trying to figure out when it was actually going to go live, when it's actually going to be available. Are you testing on people right now?
No, we're not testing on people yet, but I think it won't be too long. I think we may be able to implant a Neuralink in less than a year in a person, I think.
And when you do this, is there any test that you have to do before you do something like this to see what percentage of people's bodies are going to reject these things? Is there a potential for rejection?
It's a very low potential for rejection. I mean, you can think of it like people put in, heart monitors and, things for epileptic seizures and deep brain stimulation. Obviously, like, artificial hips and knees and that kind of thing. So probability of, I mean, like it's well known, like what will cause rejection and what will not. It's definitely harder when you've got something that is reading and writing neurons. That's generating a current pulse and reading current pulses. That's a little harder
than say a passive device, but it's still very doable. And there are people who have primitive devices in their brains right now.
What kind of devices?
Well, like deep brain stimulation is, I think for Parkinson's is has really changed people's lives in a big way, which is kind of remarkable because it kind of like zaps your brain. It's like kicking the TV type of thing. And you think like, man, kicking the TV shouldn't work.
It does sometimes.
Yeah.
The old TVs.
It did.
My grandpa used to slap the top.
For sure. Yeah.
It would work sometimes.
Yeah, so there's deep brain stimulation implanted devices in the brain that have changed people's lives for the better, like fundamentally.
Well, let's talk about what you can talk about to what Neuralink is, because the last time you were here, we really couldn't discuss it. And then there was a press release, something that sort of outlined.
Sure.
That happened quite a bit after the last time you were here. So what exactly is it? How do you do, what happens if someone ultimately does get a Neuralink installed? What will take place?
Well, for version 1 of the device, it would be it basically implanted in your skull. So,
but it would be
flush with your skull. So you basically
take out a chunk of skull, put the Neuralink device in there. You'd put the electrode, you'd insert the electrode threads very carefully into the brain, and then you
stitch it up, and you wouldn't even know that somebody has it, and so then it can interface basically anywhere in your brain. So it could be something that helps cure, say, eyesight, like returns your eyesight, even if you've like lost your optic nerve type of thing.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. Hearing, obviously. I mean, pretty much anything that it could, in principle, fix almost anything that is wrong with the brain. And it could
restore limb functionality. So if you've got
interface into the motor cortex,
and then an implant that's that's like a microcontroller in your muscle groups, you could then create a sort of a neural shunt that restores somebody who's a quadriplegic to full functionality. Like they can walk around, be normal.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So
maybe slightly better.
Slightly better?
Over time, yes.
You mean with future iterations?
Yeah. Like the $6 million man. Although these days that doesn't
That's
seem like
cheap.
much. Yeah. Yeah.
$6 billion man.
Yeah.
So the hole would be small. How big would the hole be that you have to drill and then replace with this piece? It's only one hole?
Well, the device we're working on right now
is
about an inch in diameter. And your skull's pretty thick, by the way.
So
skulls are...
Mine is, for sure.
It might actually literally be. I mean, if you're a big guy, your
skull is actually fairly thick.
Skull is like 7 to 14 millimeters. So
Mine's probably a couple of inches.
A half inch, half inch thick skull-ish. So that's a fair bit of, like, we got quite a coconut going on there. It's not like some eggshell.
Oh yeah, I believe you.
You basically implant the device.
And so it would be like a 1 inch square? Or 1 inch in diameter?
Yeah,
so an inch circle. Like a circular?
Yeah, I think like a
smartwatch
or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you take this 1 inch diameter, like ice fishing, right? You ever go ice fishing?
No, but I'd like to.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's really fun.
Yeah.
So you basically take an auger and you drill through the surface of the ice.
Yeah.
And you create a small hole, and you can dunk your line in there. So this is like that. You're ice fishing on the top of your skull, and then you cork it.
Yeah, and you replace that, say 1 inch diameter piece of skull with this Neuralink device, and that has a battery and a Bluetooth and an inductive charger, and then you also got to insert the electrodes. So the electrodes are very carefully inserted with our robot that we developed. That's very carefully putting in the electrodes and avoiding, any veins or arteries, so it doesn't create trauma.
So through this 1-inch diameter device, electrodes be inserted and they will find their way.
Like tiny wires, basically.
Tiny wires.
Tiny wires.
And they'll find their way to specific areas of the brain to stimulate?
No, you literally put them where they're supposed to go.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, you should insert.
How long will these wires be?
They usually go in depending on where it is, 2
or 3 millimeters.
So they just find the spots.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then, then you put the device in, and that gets that replaces the little piece of skull that was taken out, and then you stitch up the hole, and you set up like a little scar, and that's it.
Will this be replaceable or reversible?
Yeah.
Like if someone can't take it anymore?
Yeah.
I'm too smart. I can't take it.
Yeah, you can totally take it out.
And what is besides restoring limb function and eyesight and hearing, which are all amazing, is there any cognitive benefits that you anticipate from something like this?
You could for sure. Basically, it's a generalized sort of thing for fixing any kind of brain injury in principle, if you've got like
severe epilepsy or something like that.
It could just sort of stop the epilepsy from occurring. Like it could detect it in real time and then fire a counter pulse and stop the epilepsy. There's a whole range of brain injuries. Like somebody gets a stroke, they could lose the ability to speak.
That could also
be fixed. So if you've got stroke damage, or if you lose, say, muscle control over part of your face or something like that. I think, and then when you get old, you tend to, if you get Alzheimer's or something like that, then you lose memory, and this could help you with, restoring your memory, that kind of thing.
Restoring memory, and what is happening that's allowing it to do that? Like the wires, these small wires, stimulating these areas of the brain, and then is it that the areas of the brain they're losing some sort of electrical force? Like what is happening? Yeah.
It's like think of a bunch of circuits, and there's some circuits that are broken,
and we can fix those circuits. Substitute for those circuits.
And so a specific frequency will go through this?
Yeah, just
specific in that is the process figuring out how much or how little has to be, how much these areas of the brain have to be juiced up.
Yeah, there's still a lot of work to do. So when I say, we've got a shot at probably putting it in a person in within a year. I think that's exactly what I mean. I think we have a chance of putting it into one and having them be healthy and restoring some functionality that they've lost.
The fear is that eventually you're gonna have to cut the whole top of someone's head off and put a new top with a whole bunch of wires if you want to get the real turbocharged version, the P100 of brain stimulation.
Ultimately, if you want to go with full AI symbiosis, you'll probably want to do something like that.
Symbiosis is a scary word when it comes to AI.
It's optional.
I would hope so. Yeah.
It's just,
once you enjoy the Dr. Manhattan lifestyle, once you become a god, seems very, very unlikely you're going to want to go back to being stupid again.
You literally can fundamentally change the way human beings interface with each other.
Yes. You wouldn't need to talk.
I'm so scared of that, but so excited about it at the same time. Is that weird?
Yeah, I think this is one of the paths to like think like what like AI is getting better and better. So now let's assume
it's sort of like a benign AI scenario.
Even in a benign scenario, we're kind of left behind. We're not along for the ride. We're just too dumb.
Right.
So how do you go along for the ride?
So you can't beat them, join them.
So, and we're already a cyborg to some degree, right? Because you've got your phone, you've got your laptop,
Glasses.
you got your
Sure.
electronic devices.
Yeah.
And syndrome. It's like feels like something's but really missing. So we're already partly partly a cyborg or an AI symbiote, essentially. It's just that the data rate to the electronics is slow. So, especially Apple, if you just go and with your thumbs, I don't know, like, what's your data rate? Maybe optimistically 100 bits per second. That's being generous. And now the computer can communicate at like 100 terabits. So gigabits are trivial at this point. So this is like, basically your computer can do things a million times faster. Or you're at a certain point, it's like the AI is like talking to a tree. Okay, it's just boring. You can talk to a tree. It's not very entertaining. So if you can solve the data rate issue, especially input to, then you can improve the symbiosis that is already occurring.
So you can improve it in when you said you won't have to talk to each other anymore. We used to joke around about that. I've joked around about that a million times in this podcast, that one day in the future there's going to come a time where you can read each other's minds. And you'll be able to interface with each other in some sort of a non-verbal, non-physical way, where you will transfer data back and forth to each other without having to actually use your mouth. Make noises.
Exactly. So what happens when let's say you've got some complex idea that you're trying to convey to somebody else, and how do you do that? Well, your brain spends a lot of effort compressing a complex concept into words, and there's a lot of loss, information loss that occurs when compressing a complex concept into words. When you say those words are then interpreted, then they're decompressed by the person who is listening, and they will at best get a very incomplete understanding of what you're trying to convey. It's very difficult to convey a complex concept with precision, because you've got compression, decompression. You may not even have heard all the words correctly, and so communication is difficult. What we have here is a failure to communicate. Cool Aunt Luke.
Yes, and there's a great movie.
Yeah, great movie.
And there's an interpretation factor too. Like and there's a great movie.
Yeah, to communicate. And so communication is difficult. What we have here is a failure to communicate. Cool Aunt Luke.
Yes, and there's a great movie.
Yeah, great movie.
And there's an interpretation factor too. Like you can choose to interpret certain series of words in different ways. And they're dependent upon tone, dependent upon social cues, even facial expressions, sarcasm. There's a lot of variables.
Sarcasm is difficult.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that I've said is like that there could be potentially a universal language that's created through computers that particularly young kids would pick up very quickly. Like my kids do TikTok and all this jazz, and I don't know what they're doing. They just know how to do it, and they know how to do it really quickly. Like they learn really quickly, and they show me how to edit things. And it's if you taught a child from first grade on how to use some new universal language. I mean, essentially like a Rosetta Stone, and something that's done that interprets your thoughts, and you can convey your thoughts with no room for interpretation, with very clear, where where you know what a person's saying and you can tell them what you're saying, and there's no need for noises, no need for mouth noises, no need for these sort of accepted ways that we've sort of evolved to make sounds that we all agree. We, through our cultural dictionary, and we agree or certain. We can bypass all that.
Yeah, we can still do it for
fun,
sentimental reasons.
Right. Like campfires.
Yeah, exactly. You don't need campfires. You don't need to roast marshmallows. It's kind of fun.
Right.
I think you would be able to keep very quickly and with far more precision ideas. And language would. I'm not sure what would happen to language. But you could probably, with a situation like this, that you would be able to it would be kind of like the Matrix. You want to speak a different language, no problem.
Right.
Just wire it, or just download the program.
Right. So, at least for the first few iterations, we'll just be able to use. Like, I know that Google has their some of their Pixel buds have the ability to interpret languages in real time. Like,
sure.
Yeah, you can hear it, and it'll play things back to you in whatever language you choose. So to be something along those lines.
Yeah.
For the first few iterations.
Well, the first few iterations are. I mean, what I'm talking about is like in the limit over time, with a lot of development. The first few iterations, really in the first few versions, all we're going to be trying to do is solve their brain injuries. So it's like don't worry that it's not going to sneak up on you. This will take a while.
How many years? Before you don't have to talk.
If the development continues to accelerate, then maybe like 5 years, 5 to 10 years.
That's quick. That's really quick.
That's the best case scenario.
No talking anymore in 5 years.
Best case scenario. 10 years more like it.
I've always speculated that aliens could potentially be us in the future, because if you look at like the size of their heads and the fact that they have very little muscle and they don't use their mouth anymore, they have this tiny little. The archetypal alien that you see like Close Encounters of the Third Kind, they're like if you went from like Australopithecus or ancient hominid to us. What's the difference? Less hair, less muscle, less head, less muscle, and then you just keep going. 1,000, a million,
whatever year, or 5 years, whatever happens when Neuralink goes online, and then we slowly start to adapt to this new way of being, where we don't use our muscles anymore. We have this gigantic head. We can talk without words.
You could also
save state. And
save state?
Save state, like save your brain state, like a saved game in a video game.
Whoa. like if you want to swap from Windows 95 to
hopefully a little better than that, but yeah.
I think we are Windows 95 right now.
Yeah. From a future perspective, probably. But yeah, I mean, you could
save state.
and restore that state into a biological being if you
wanted to in the future. In principle, there's like nothing like from a physics standpoint that prevents this. You'd be a little different, but then you're also a little different when you wake up in the morning from yesterday, and you're a little different. In fact,
if you say like
you 5 years ago versus you today is quite a big difference.
Yes.
So you'd be substantially you. I mean, you'd suddenly think you're you.
But the idea of saving yourself and then transforming that into some sort of a biological state, like you could hang out with 30-year-old you.
I mean, the possibilities are endless.
That's so weird.
I mean, just think like how your phone you can record videos on your phone.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's no way you could remember a video
right
as accurately as your phone or a camera, could. So, if you've got like some version 10 Neuralink, whatever, far in the future, you could recall everything, but just like it's a movie, including all the entire sensory experience.
Emotions, everything, and
play it back.
Do you think you'll be able to share?
Edit it.
Yeah. So you can change your past.
You could change what you think was your past.
Well, so if you had like
this whole thing
experience
right now could be a replayed memory. Yeah.
Well, so if you had
thing right
experience
now could be a replayed memory. Yeah.
Well, so if you had like
this whole
traumatic
thing right now
experience,
could be a replayed memory.
It could be. It could. It may be. It could. It may be. What's the odds of this being a replayed memory? You got to guess. It's more than 50%.
There's no way to assign a probability with accuracy.
Right, but roughly. If you just had a gut instinct.
Well, I don't have a neural link in my brain, so I'd say right now 0%. But at the point at which you do have a neural link, then it rises above 0%.
The idea that we're experiencing some sort of a preserved memory is even though it's still the same, it's not comforting. Right? For some reason, when people talk about simulation theory, they talk about the potential for this currently being a simulation. Even though your life might be wonderful, you might be in love, you might love your career, you might have great friends, but it's not comforting to know this experience somehow or another doesn't exist in a material form that you can knock on.
Feels real, doesn't it?
Somehow or another doesn't exist in a material form that you can knock on.
Feels real.
Feels real, but feels real. But the idea that it's not is for some strange reason disconcerting.
Well, yeah, sure. Should be disconcerting. Because then if this is not real, what is?
Right.
But there's that old thought experiment of like, how do you know you're not a brain in a vat? I mean, now here's the thing: you are a brain in a vat. Then that vat is your skull.
Yes.
And everything you see, feel, hear, everything, all your senses are electrical signals. Everything. Is an electrical signal that's interesting.
Like all your hormones, all your neurotransmitters, all these things are drugs.
Adrenaline's a drug. Dopamine's a drug. You're a drug factory. You're constantly changing your state with love and oxytocin and beauty.
Sure.
Changes your state. Great music changes your state.
Absolutely.
Akira.
Here's another sort of interesting idea, which is, because you say, like, where did consciousness arise? Well, assuming you believe the belief in physics, which appears to be true,
then the universe started off as basically quarks and leptons, and it quickly became hydrogen and helium, lithium, like basically elements of the periodic table. But it was like mostly hydrogen, basically. And then over a long period of time, 13.8 billion years later, that hydrogen became sentient. So where along the way where is consciousness? What's the line of consciousness and not consciousness between hydrogen and here?
Right, when do we call it consciousness? Yeah. I was watching a video today that we played on a podcast earlier of a monkey riding a motorcycle down the street, jumps off the motorcycle and tries to steal a baby.
Yeah, so that was
What is that monkey conscious? It seems like it is. It seems like it had a plan. Riding a fucking motorcycle and then jumped off the motorcycle to try to steal a baby. Seems pretty.
The one that just dragged the baby down the street pretty far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seems pretty conscious. Right?
It's definitely some degree of consciousness there.
Yeah, it's not a worm. It seems to be on another level. Yeah, and it's going to keep going, and that's the real concern when people think about the potential future versions of human beings, especially when you consider symbiotic relationship to artificial intelligence that will be unrecognizable. That one day we'll be so far removed from what this is. We'll look back on this the way we look back now on, simple organisms that we evolved from. And then it won't be that far in the future that we do have this view back.
Well, I hope consciousness propagates into the future and gets more sophisticated and complex, and that it understands the questions to ask about the universe.
Do you think that's the case? As a human being, as yourself, you're clearly trying to make conscious decisions to be a better version of you, right? This is the idea of like getting rid of your possessions and realizing that you're trying to, like, I don't like this, I will try to improve this. I will try to do a better version of the way I interface with reality. That this is always the way things are. If you're moving in some sort of a direction where you're trying to improve things, you're always going to move into this new place where you look back in the old place and go, I was doing it wrong back then. So this is an accelerated version of that.
Yeah.
Super accelerated version.
I mean, you don't always improve, but you can aspire to improve. You can aspire to be less wrong.
Yeah.
It's like, I think the tools of physics are very powerful. Like, just assume you're wrong and your goal is to be less wrong. I don't think you're gonna, if you succeed every day in being less wrong, but if you're gonna succeed in being less wrong, most of the time you're doing great.
That's a great way of putting it. Aspire to be less. wrong. But then when
Right. If you can succeed in being less wrong, most of the time you're doing great. If you can succeed in being less wrong, most of the time you're doing great.
that's a great way of putting it. Aspire to be less wrong. But then when, people look back in nostalgia about simpler times, there's that too. It's very romantic and exciting to look back on campfires.
But you can still have a campfire.
Yes.
Yeah.
But will you appreciate it when you're a super nerd, when you're connected to the grid, and you have some skull cap in place of the top of your head, and it's interfacing with the international language that the rest of the universe now enjoys communication with people?
Yeah, sure, I think so. Yeah, I like campfires.
I'm just worried. I mean, everyone's always scared of change, but I'm scared of this monumental change where we won't talk anymore. I mean, that thing
We'll
that you
communicate.
just yes, but there's something about the beauty of the crudeness of language, where when it's done eloquently, it's satisfying and it hits us in some sort of a visceral way. Like, that person nailed it. I love that they nailed it. Like that, it's so hard to capture a real thought and convey it in a way, in this articulate way that makes someone excited. Like you read a great quote by a wise person, it makes you excited that their mind figured something out, put the words together in a right way that makes your brain pop. Like, oh yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Clever compression of a concept.
yeah.
And a feeling.
But the fact that a human did it too.
Yeah.
Do you think that it'll be like electronic music? Like people won't appreciate it like they appreciate a slide guitar?
I like electronic music.
I do too. I do too. I do too. I do too. Slide guitar. Slide guitar. Slide guitar. Slide guitar.
I like electronic.
I do. I do too.
Yeah.
Well, you make it. I know you like it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I hope the future is more fun and interesting, and we should try to make that way.
I hope it's more fun and interesting too.
Yeah.
I just hope we don't lose anything.
Akira.
Along the way.
Yeah, we might lose a little.
I just hope we don't lose anything along the way.
Yeah, we might lose a little. But
this-
hopefully we gain more than we lose.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Gaining more than we lose. Like something that makes us interesting is that we're so flawed.
Some for sure.
Right.
I mean, you look at civilizations through the ages. Most of them, they rose and fell.
Yeah.
And I do think like the globalization that we have at the sort of like the meme sphere is there's not enough isolation between countries or regions. It's like if there's a mind virus, that mind virus can infect too much of the world. I actually sort of sympathize with the anti-globalization people. We don't ever want everywhere to be the same, for sure, and then we need some kind of like mind viral immunity. So that's it's a bit concerning.
Mind viral immunity, meaning that once something like Neuralink gets established, the real concern is something that, you said it's Bluetooth, right? Or
Sure.
some future version of that. That the idea is that something could possibly get into it, fuck it up.
No, I'm talking about like somebody has some concept that that happens right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Well, I know there's viruses and embedded chips, right? Like they've embedded chips and then acquired viruses.
When I'm talking about a mind virus, I'm talking about like a concept that infects people's minds.
Oh, okay. Like cult thinking.
Yeah.
Some sort of fundamentalism.
Yeah, just a wrong-headed idea that
Yes.
goes viral in an idea sense.
That is a problem too, right? If someone can manipulate that technology to make something appear logical or rational.
Yeah.
Would that be an issue too? This is a very have versus have not issue, right? Once this thing, if this really does, I mean, initially it's going to help people with injuries, but you said ultimately it could lead to this spectacular cognitive change.
Yes.
But the people that first get it should have a massive advantage over people that don't have it yet.
Well, I mean, it's the kind of thing where your productivity would improve, I don't know, dramatically, maybe by a factor of 10 with it. So you could definitely just, I don't know, take out a loan and do it and earn the money back real fast.
Yeah.
Be super smart.
Well, in a capitalist society, it seems like you could really get so far ahead that before everybody else
Could afford this thing and link up and
get connected as well, he'd be so far ahead
they
that
can never catch you.
is that a concern?
Well, I think it's not a super huge concern. I mean, there are huge differences in cognitive ability and resources already.
Yeah.
I mean, you can think of a corporation as like a cybernetic collective that's far smarter than an individual.
Like I couldn't personally build like a whole rocket and the engines and launch it and everything. That's impossible. But we have 8,000 people with SpaceX and piecing it out to different people
And using computers and machines and stuff, we can make lots of rockets launch into orbit, dock with the space station, that kind of thing. So that already exists where there's corporations are vastly more capable than an individual. But we should be, I think, less concerned about relative capabilities between people and more having AI be vastly beyond us and decoupled from human will.
Decoupled
From human. So this is the.
If you can't beat them, join them.
Yeah, I mean.
So you feel like it's inevitable, like AI, sentient AI, is essentially inevitable.
Super sentient AI, yeah. Like beyond a level that's difficult to understand. Impossible.
And somehow or another, so it's almost like it's a requirement for survival to achieve some sort of symbiotic existence with AI.
It's not a requirement. It's just if you want to be along for the ride, then you need to do some kind of symbiosis. So the way your brain works right now, you've got kind of like the animal brain, reptile brain, kind of, for argument's sake, it's like the limbic system basically, and you've got the cortex. Now the brain purists will argue with this definition, but essentially you've got the primitive brain and you've got the sort of
smart brain, or the brain that's capable of planning and understanding concepts and
difficult things that a monkey can't understand. Now your cortex is much smarter than your limbic system. Nonetheless, they work together well. So I haven't met anyone who wants to
delete the limbic system
or the cortex. There are people quite happy having both. So you can think of this as being like the computer, the AI is like a third layer, a tertiary layer. So that is like that could be symbiotic with the cortex. It would be much smarter than the cortex. But you'd essentially have 3 layers. And you actually have that right now. Your phone is capable of things, and your computer is capable of things that your brain is definitely not. Storing terabytes of information perfectly. Doing incredible calculations that we couldn't even come close to doing. You have that with your computer. It's just like I said, the data rate is slow. The connection is weak.
Why is it so disconcerting, or why does it not give me comfort to think about? Like when I think about a symbiotic connection to AI, I always think of this cold, emotionless sort of thing that we will become. Is that a bad way to look at it?
I think that's not fair. That's not how it would be. Like I said, you already are symbiotic with AI or computers,
phones, computers, laptops.
Yeah, and there's quite a bit of AI going on. So artificial neural nets. Increasingly, neural nets are sort of taking over from regular programming more and more. So you are connected. If you use Google Voice or Alexa or one of those things, it's using a neural net to decode your speech and try to understand what you're saying. If you're trying to do image recognition or improve the quality of photograph, it's using the neural net's the best way to do that. So you are already sort of a cybernetic symbiote. Like I said, it's just a question of your data rate. The communication speed between your phone and your brain is slow.
When do you think you're going to do it? How long will you wait? Like once it starts becoming available.
Yeah, if it works, I'll do it, sure.
Right away.
I mean, let's make sure it works.
How do we make sure it works? We try it on prisoners? Like, what do you do?
No.
Take rapists?
Cut holes in their head?
No, like I said, if somebody's got a serious brain injury.
Right.
And there people that have like very severe brain injuries. And then you can fix those brain injuries. And then you prove out that it works, and you expand and
make more and more brain injuries, solve more and more.
And then at a certain age, we all are going to get Alzheimer's. We're all going to get senile, and then moms forget the names of their kids and that kind of thing. And so it's like you said, okay, well this would allow you to remember your names of your kids and have a much more normal life where you're able to function much later in life. So I think that. So essentially, almost everyone will find a need at some point if you get old enough to use Neuralink, and then it's like, okay, so we can improve the functionality and improve the communication speed. So then you will not have to use your thumbs to communicate with the computer.
Do you ever sit down and extrapolate? Do you ever sit down and think about all the different iterations of this and what this eventually leads to?
I think about it a lot. There's, like I said, this is not something that's going to sneak up on you. There's like getting FDA approval for this stuff is not like overnight. And there's we probably have to be on like version 10 or something before realistically be a human AI symbiote situation. So you'll see it coming,
You see it coming, but what do you think it's going to be? Like when you're alone, if you have free time, I don't know if you have free time, but if you just
Sit down and think about this iteration, the next, onward, keep going, and you drag it out with improvements along the way, and leaps and bounds and technological innovations. And where do you see it? What are we going to be?
Like when?
25 years from now, what are we going to be? 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 What are we going to be?
Well, assuming civilization is still around. It's looking fragile right now. I think we could have in 25 years, probably something. I would think there could be a whole brain interface.
A whole brain interface.
Something pretty close to that, yeah.
How do you define? What do you mean by whole brain interface?
Like almost all the neurons are connected to the sort of AI extension of yourself. If you want.
AI extension of yourself.
Yeah.
What does that mean to you? Like, what do you mean when you say AI extension of yourself?
Well, like I said, you already have a computer extension of yourself in your phone, computers and stuff. So, and now online, it's like somebody dies, there's like an online ghost that their online stuff is still alive.
That's a good way to put it. It is weird when you read someone's tweets after they're dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Instagram and their stories and
Whatever, Facebook, it's like, like all
that's a great way to put it.
it's like an online ghost.
That's very accurate.
Yeah. So. Yeah. So that it would just be that more of you would be in the cloud, I guess, than in your body, more of you.
Now, when you say civilization's fragile, do you mean because of this COVID-19 shit that's going on right now?
I never heard of it.
It's this thing.
Yeah, no.
It's like some people just get a cough.
No idea what you're talking about.
Other people, it gets much worse. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, this certainly has taken over the mind space of the world to a degree that is quite shocking.
Yeah. Well, out of nowhere. That's what's crazy. It's crazy. You go back to November, nothing. Now here we are, December, January, February, March, April, May, 6 months. Totally different world. So from nothing to everything's locked down. There's so much conflicting information and conflicting opinions about how to proceed. What has happened? You find things where there was a meat packing plant, I believe, in Missouri, where 300 plus people were asymptomatic, tested positive or asymptomatic, and then in other places it just ravages entire communities and kills people, and it's so weird. It almost appears on the like if you didn't know any better, you'd be like, what? It seems like there's a bunch of different viruses. It doesn't seem like it's the same thing, or has a bunch of different reactions to the biological variety of people.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of saw this whole thing play out in China before it played out in the U.S. So it's kind of like watching the same movie again, but in English. So.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the mortality rate is much less
than what is. Than what, say, the World Health Organization said it was. It's
very much less. It's like probably at least order of magnitude less.
Well, it seems to be very deadly to very specific kinds of people with specific problems.
Yeah, I mean, if you're you can look at the mortality statistics, by age and whether they have comorbidities, like do they have like basically existing conditions, and by age, and if you're below 60 and have no serious health issues, the probability of death is extremely low. It's not zero, but it's extremely low.
They didn't think that this was the case, though, when they first started to lock down the country. Do you think that it's a situation where once they've proceeded in a certain way, it's very difficult to correct course?
It's almost like people really wanted a panic. It's quite crazy.
But in some places, a panic is deserved, right? Like if you're in the ICU in Manhattan and people are dying left and right, and everyone's on intubators, and it seems like when you see all these people on ventilators and so many of them are dying, and you see these nurses are dying and doctors are getting sick, in some places that fear is justified. But then in other places, you're reading these stories about hospitals that are essentially half empty. They're having to furlough doctors and nurses because there's no work for them.
Most of the hospitals in the United States right now are half empty. In some cases, they're at 30% capacity.
And is this because they've decided to forego elective procedures and normal things that people would have to go to the hospital for?
Yes, I mean, and we're not talking about just some of these elective procedures are quite important.
Yes.
Like it's like you have a bad heart.
Gallbladder disease, yeah, sure.
Yeah, and you need a triple bypass. It's like sort of elective, but if you don't get it done in time, you're going to die.
Yeah.
It's
elective's a weird word.
Yeah, elective. It's not like, hey, I want to. It's not like plastic surgery or something. It's more like my hip is. I'm in extreme pain because my hip's blown out, or my knee, and I don't want to go to the hospital. I can't go to the hospital. People in extreme pain, people that need a kid, like people that have like quite serious issues that are choosing not to go out of fear. So I think it's a problem. It's not good.
It seems like the state of public perception is shifting.
It is.
Like people are taking some deep breaths and relaxing, and because of the statistics and essentially across the board, it's being recognized that it's not as fatal as we thought it was. Still dangerous, still worse than the flu, but not as bad as we thought, or we feared it could be.
Objectively, the mortality is much lower, like at least a factor of 10, maybe a factor of 50 lower than initially thought.
Do you think that the current way we're handling this, the social distancing, the masks, the locking down, does this make sense? Is it adequate, or do you think that we should move back to at least closer to where we used to be?
Well, I think proper hygiene is a good thing, no matter what. Wash your hands, and and if you're coughing, stay home or wear a mask. This is not good. Like they do that in Japan. That's like normal.
Yeah.
If you're ill, you wear a face mask and cough on people. I think that would be a great thing to adopt in general throughout the world. Washing your hands is also good.
Well, that's the speculation why men get it more than women, because men are disgusting. We don't wash our hands as much. Men are disgusting.
It's true.
It's true.
Yeah,
I admit it. We're all men in this room. We're all gross.
Yeah, let's go to the restroom.
Yes, we're gross. My 9-year-old daughter yells at me. She goes, "Did you wash your hands?" She makes me go back and wash my hands. She's right. 9 years old. If I had a 9-year-old boy, do you think he would care? He wouldn't give a fuck if I washed my hands.
True. So I think that there's definitely some silver linings here in improved. hygiene.
Yes.
And
an awareness of potential.
yes, and I think this has shaken up the system. The system is like somewhat moribund with a lot of layers of bureaucracy, and I think that we've cut through some of that bureaucracy. And if we, at some point there probably will be a pandemic with a high mortality rate. There's debate about like what's high, but I mean like something that's killing a lot of 20-year-olds, let's say. Like it's
Yes.
if you had like Ebola type of mortality.
Spanish flu, something that attacks the immune systems of healthy people.
But it's like killing large numbers of young healthy people. That's high mortality. Then this is at least practice for something like that. And I think there's given it's just a matter of time that there will be eventually some such pandemic.
Do you think that in a sense, the one good thing that we might get out of this is the realization that this is a potential reality, that we got lucky in the sense? I mean, in people that didn't get lucky and died, of course, I'm not disrespecting their death and their loss, but I'm saying overall, as a culture, as a community, as a human race, as a community, this is not as bad as it could have been. This is a good dry run for us to appreciate that we need far more resources dedicated towards understanding these diseases, what to do in the case of pandemic, and much more money that goes to funding treatments and some preventative measures.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's a good chance, it's highly likely, I think, coming out of this, that we will develop vaccines that we didn't have before for coronaviruses and other viruses, and possibly cures for these. And our understanding of viruses of this nature has improved dramatically because of the attention that it's received. So there's definitely a lot of silver linings here. And
potentially, if we act correctly.
Yeah. There's, I think there will be some amount of silver lining here, no matter what. Hopefully, we could be more of a silver lining than less. So yeah, this is
it's like kind of like a practice run for something that had a potentially that might in the future have a serious, like a really high mortality rate. So, and we kind of got to go through this without it being something that kills vast numbers of young, healthy people.
Yeah. When you made a series of tweets recently.
Well, I don't remember the exact wording, but essentially you were saying "Free America now." Like, let's
that is
open
the exact
it back.
wording.
That is it.
Thank you. But what was how much do you pay attention to the response to that stuff, and what was the response? Like, did anybody go, "Hey, Elon, what the fuck you doing?" Did anybody pull you aside?
Of course.
Who does that? Who gets to do that to you?
Well, I mean, I certainly get that. There's no shortage of
I got feedback on Twitter,
Oh yeah, Twitter.
Yeah, but I don't read that. Do you read it?
Warzone.
You do sometimes, though, right? You do read it.
I scroll through the comments. Like I say, as a meme Warzone.
Yeah.
I mean, people knife you good on Twitter.
It's something I enjoy about that. There's something about the freedom of expression that comes from all these people that do attack you. It's like, well, if there was no vulnerability whatsoever, they wouldn't attack you. And it's like there's something about these millions and millions of perspectives that you have to appreciate. Even if it comes your way, even if the shit storm hits you in the face,
Sure.
You gotta appreciate, wow, how amazing is it that all these people do have the ability to express themselves. I mean, you don't necessarily want to be there when the shit hits you.
Sure.
You might want to get out of the way in anticipation of the shitstorm, but the fact that so many people have the ability to reach out, and I think it's, in a lot of ways, it's, I don't want to say a misused resource, but it's like giving monkeys guns. They just start, they start gunning down things that are in front of them without any realization of what they're doing, They have a rock, they see a window, they throw it. Woo! Look at that! I got Elon mad. Look at that! This guy got mad at me. I fucking took this person down on Twitter. I got this lady fired. Oh, the fucking business is going under because of Twitter wars. It seems like there's something about it that's this newfound thing that I don't want to say abuse, but just I want to say that it's almost like, you know, you hit the button and things blow up. You're like, wow, what else can we blow up?
Sure. I mean, I've been in the Twitter war zone for a while here, so Twitter. You know, it takes a lot to face me at this point.
Yeah, that's good too, right? Like you develop a thick skin.
Yeah, you can't take it personally. I love these people that actually know you. You know, like,
yeah.
It's just like, you know, it's like if you're fighting a war, and there's like some opposing soldier that shoots at you. It's not like they hate you. They don't even know you.
Right. Yeah.
So just think of it like that. Like they're firing bullets, whatever. But they don't know you, so don't take it personally.
There's something interesting about it too. It's like when you write something in 280 characters, and they write something in it's such a crude way. It's like someone sending opposing smoke signals that refute your smoke signals. It's like it's so crude.
And especially when you're talking about something like Neuralink. You're talking about some future potential where you're going to be able to express pure thoughts that get conveyed through some sort of a universal language with no ambiguity whatsoever, versus tweets.
Well, there will always be some ambiguity, but tweets it's hard. Maybe there should be like a sarcasm flag or something,
Right.
Or I'm not just kidding or whatever,
It seems like it would take away some of the fun from people that know it's sarcasm. Like if everybody knew that The Onion wasn't real, if you sent people articles, there's something about someone getting angry at an Onion article.
Wow, that's amazing.
You know what I mean? Where they don't realize what it is. There's something fun about that for everybody else.
Onion's pretty great. Might be the best news source.
Do you know who Titania McGrath is? Hilarious. It's Andrew Boyle. He's a British fellow, brilliant guy, who's been on the podcast before, and he has this fictional character, this pseudonym, Titania McGrath, who's like the ultimate social justice warrior. And
is this like a female avatar?
Yes.
Okay.
A female avatar that's actually a computer conglomeration of a bunch of races.
Okay.
It's not really one person. So one person can be a victim, can be angry. You sort of combine these phases to make this one perfect social justice warrior. Okay. But the thing, I recognized it early on before I met him that this was parody. This was just fun. And then I love reading the people that don't recognize that. They get angry, and they're really, there's a lot of people that just get really furious about some. There's some fun to that. There's some fun to the not picking up on
the true nature of the signal.
I find Twitter quite engaging.
How do you have the time?
It's like 5 minutes every couple hours type thing. It's not like I'm sitting on it all day.
And even 5 minutes every couple hours, if those are bad 5 minutes, they might be bouncing around your head for the next 30.
Yeah, you have to, like I said, take a certain amount of distance from. You read this and you're like, okay, it's bullets being fired by an opposing army. Don't like. It's not like they like I said, it's not like they know you. It's like don't take it personally.
Did you feel the same way when CNN had that stupid shit about ventilators with you? I found that both confusing and it was annoying. But it was also annoying as a person who reads CNN and wants to think of them as a responsible conveyor of the facts. I would like to think that.
Yeah. I don't think CNN is that.
I think it used to be.
It used to be, yeah. What do you think's the best source of just like information out there? Like,
that's a good question.
Let's say you're just like average citizen trying to just get the facts, figure out what's going on, like, how to live your life, and just looking for what's going on in the world that it's hard to find something that isn't, that's good.
Yeah.
Not trying to push some partisan angle, not trying to, not sort of doing sloppy reporting and just aiming for the most number of clicks and trying to maximize ad dollars and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
You're just trying to figure out what's going on. It's like, I'm hard pressed to, where do you go?
I don't know. I don't think there's any pure form. My favorite places are the New York Times and the LA Times, and I don't trust them 100%. Because also there's individuals that are writing these stories.
Yeah, exactly.
And that seems to be the problem, is these individual biases and these there's purposely distorted perceptions, and then there's ignorantly reported facts. And there's so many variables, and you got to put everything through this filter of where is this person coming from? Do they have political biases? Do they have social biases? Are they upset because of their own shortcomings, and are they projecting this into the story?
Sure.
It's so hard.
Yeah, I think like maybe just trying to find individual reporters that you think are good and kind of following them as opposed to the publication.
I go with whatever Matt Taibbi says.
Okay.
I trust him more than anybody.
All right.
Matt Taibbi's onto something. He's as far as investigative reporters in particular, the way he reported the savings and loan crisis, the way he reports everything. I just listen to him above most. He's my go-to guy.
All right, I'll check it out.
His Rolling Stones articles are amazing. His stuff on the savings and loan crisis is just like, what in the fuck?
Sure.
And and he wasn't, he's not an economist by any stretch of the imagination, so he had to really sort of deeply embed himself in that world to try to understand it and to be able to report on it.
Yep.
And with a humorous flair.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's not that many of them. It's hard, and not a location where like we are no bullshit.
Sure.
We are nobullshit.com. Like the one place where you can say, this is what we know, this is what we don't know, this is what we think. Not this person's wrong and here's why. Like, oh, god damn it. I can't. You don't know. There's a lot of stuff that is open to interpretation.
Yeah.
This particular coronavirus issue that we're dealing with right now seems to be a great illuminator of that very fact. Is that there's so much data, and there's so much that's open to interpret. There's so many things because it's all happening in real time, right? And like particularly right now in California, we're in stage 2 tomorrow or Friday, 2 days from now. Stage 2, retail stores opening up. Things are changing. Like no one knows the correct process that needs to take place to save the most amount of lives, but yet ensure that our culture and that our economy survives. It's a lot of speculation and guessing, but if you go to certain places, they'll tell you, we know why, and we know this, and we know, it's hard.
Yeah, I mean, in general, I think that's like we should be concerned about anything that's a massive infringement on our civil liberties.
Yes.
So it's like you got to put a lot of weight on that. A lot of people died to win independence with the country and fight for the democracy that we have, and we should treasure that and not give up our liberties too easily. I think we probably did that actually.
Well, I like what you said when you said that it should be a choice, and that to require people to stay home, require people to not go to work, and to arrest people for trying to make a living. This all seems wrong, and I think it's a wrong approach. It's an infantilization of the society. That daddy's going to tell you what to do.
Fundamentally a violation of the Constitution.
Yeah.
Freedom of assembly, and it's just. I don't think these things stand up in court, really.
They're arresting people for protesting.
Yeah.
Because they're protesting and violating social distancing and these mandates that tell people that they have to stay home.
Yeah, these were definitely not stand up. The Supreme Court here. It's obviously a complete violation, right?
Yeah. And again, this is not in any way disrespecting the people who have died from this disease.
No.
It's certainly a real thing to think of.
Yeah, I mean, it just should be.
If you're at risk, you should not be compelled to leave your house,
Right.
Or leave a place of
safety, but you should also not be, if you're not at risk, or if you are
at risk and you wish to take a risk with your life, you should have the right to do that.
And it seems like at this point in time particularly,
Our resources would be best served
protecting the people that are at risk versus penalizing the people that are not at high risk for living their life the way they did, particularly having a career and making a living and feeding your family, paying your bills, keeping your store open, keeping your restaurant open.
Yes.
Akira.
I mean, there's a strong downside to this.
Yeah.
So yeah, just believe like, this is a free country. You should be, allowed to do, what you want, as long as it does not endanger others.
But that's the thing, right? People, this is the argument they will bring up. Like, you are endangering others. You should stay home for the people that you even if you're fine, even if you know you're going to be okay, there's certain people that will not be okay because of your actions. They might get exposed to this thing that we don't have a vaccine for, we don't have universally accepted treatment for, and then we need to. There's two arguments, right? The one argument is we need to keep going, protect the weak, protect the sick, but let's open up the economy. The other argument is stop placing money over human lives, and let's shelter in place until we
come up with some sort of a decision.
And let's figure out some way to develop some sort of a universal basic income plan or something like that to feed people during this time.
Well, we make this transition.
I think there's as I said, my opinion is if somebody wants to stay home, they should stay home. If somebody doesn't want to stay home, they should not be compelled to stay home. That's my opinion.
Do you think
if somebody doesn't like that, well, that's my opinion. This notion though that you can just sort of send checks out to everybody and things will be fine is not true. Obviously, there's some people have this absurd view that the economy is like some magic horn of plenty. Like it just makes stuff, whatever. There's a magic horn of plenty, and the goods and services, they just come from this magic horn of plenty. And then if somebody has more stuff than somebody else, it's because they took more from this magic horn of plenty. Now let me just break it to you, the fools out there. You don't make stuff. There's no stuff. Yeah. So you don't make the food. There's no stuff. The fools out there. Now let me just break it to you, the fools out there. If you don't make stuff, there's no stuff. Yeah. So if you don't make the food, you don't process the food, you don't transport the food, and the medical treatment, getting teeth fixed, there's no stuff. I would become detached from reality.
You can't just legislate
money and solve these things. If you don't make stuff, there is no stuff. Obviously. We'll run out of the stores. Run out of the machine just grinds to a halt.
But the initial thought on this virus, the real fear, was that this was going to kill hundreds of thousands, millions instantaneously in this country. It was going to do it very quickly. If we didn't hunker down, if we didn't shelter in place, if we didn't quarantine ourselves or lock down. Do you think that the initial thought was a good idea based on the perception that this was going to be far more deadly than it turned out to be?
Maybe, I think briefly. But I think if any kind of sensible examination of what happened in China would lead to the conclusion that is obviously not going to occur. This virus originated in Wuhan. There's 100,000 people a day leaving Wuhan. So it went everywhere very fast. throughout China, throughout the rest of the world, and the fatality rate was low.
Don't you think though it's difficult to appreciate? It's difficult to filter. The propaganda machine is very strong.
Sure.
The World Health Organization appears to have been complicit with a lot of their propaganda.
The thing is that American companies have massive supply chains in China. Like Tesla, for example. We have hundreds of suppliers, like tier 1, 2, 3, 4 suppliers throughout China. So we know if they are able to make stuff or not. We know if they have issues or not. Then China is back at full steam. Many, pretty much every U.S. company has some significant number of supplies in China. So you know if they're able to, provide things or not, or if there's, high mortality rate. Tesla has 7,000 people in China, so 0 people died. 0.
Okay, so that's a real statistic. That's coming from those people.
Yeah, we run payroll.
Do you think there's a danger of this?
So oh my god.
Same folks are there.
Yeah, still there.
Do you think there's a danger of politicizing this, where it becomes like opening up the country as Donald Trump's? It's his goal. It's his,
and then anything he does is sort of there's people that are going to oppose it and come up with some reasons why he's wrong, particularly in this climate, whereas as we're leading up to November and the 2020 elections.
Do you think that this is a real danger in terms of public's perception, that Trump wants to open it up so they knee-jerk oppose it because they oppose Trump?
I think there has been some this has been politicized, in both directions, really. So it's which is not great. Yeah, but like I said, separate and apart from that, like, there's the question of where do civil liberties fit in this picture?
Yeah.
And what can the government make you do? What can they make you not do? And
what's okay?
Right.
I think we went too far.
Do you think it's one of those things where once we've gone in a certain direction, it's very difficult to make a correction?
Make an adjustment to realize, like, okay,
We thought it was one thing. It's not good, but it's not what we thought it was going to be. It's not what we feared. So let's back up and reconsider, and let's do this publicly and say we were acting based on the information that we had initially. That information appears to be faulty. And here's how we move forward while protecting civil liberties, while protecting what essentially this country is founded on, which is a very agreed upon amount of freedom that we respect and appreciate.
Absolutely.
Well, I think we're rapidly moving towards opening up the country. It's going to happen extremely fast over the next few weeks. Something that would be helpful just to add from an informational level is when reporting sort of COVID cases, to separate out diagnosed with COVID versus had COVID-like symptoms.
Yes.
Because the list of symptoms that could be COVID at this point is like a mile long. So it's like hard to, if you're ill at all, it's like it could be COVID. So just to give people better information, definitely diagnosed with COVID or had COVID-like symptoms. We're conflating those two, so that it looks bigger than it is. Then, if somebody dies, was COVID a primary cause of the death or not? If somebody has COVID, gets eaten by a shark, we find their arm has COVID. It's going to get recorded as a COVID death.
Is that real?
Basically.
Not that bad, but heart attacks, strokes,
get hit by a bus,
cancer.
if you get hit by a bus, go to the hospital and die, and they find that you have COVID, you will be recorded as a COVID death.
Why would they do that though?
Well, right now, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. I mean, it's mostly paved with bad intentions, but there's some good intentions paving stones in there too. And the stimulus bill that was intended to help with the hospitals that were being overrun with COVID patients created an incentive to record something as COVID that is difficult to say no to, especially if your hospital is going bankrupt for lack of other patients. So the hospitals are in a bind right now. A bunch of hospitals they're furloughing doctors, as you were mentioning. If your hospital's half full, it's hard to make ends meet. So now you've got I just checked this box, I get $8,000. Put them on a ventilator for 5 minutes, I get $39,000. Or I got to fire some doctors. So what's this is a tough moral quandary. What you can do? That's the situation we have.
What's the way out of this? What do you think is if you had the president's ear, or if people wanted to just listen to you openly? What do you think is the way out of this?
Let's clear up the data. So, like I said, just make sure we record it as COVID only if it is somebody has been tested, has received a positive COVID test, not if they simply have symptoms, one of 100 symptoms. And then if it is a COVID death, it must be separated. Was COVID a primary reason for death, or did they also have stage 3 cancer, heart disease, emphysema, and got hit by a bus? And had COVID.
Yeah, I've read all this stuff about them diagnosing people as a COVID death despite other variables.
This is not a question. This is what is occurring.
And where are you reading this from? Where are you getting this from?
The public health officials have literally said this. This is not a question mark.
Right. But this is unprecedented, right? Like if someone had the flu but also had a heart attack, they would assume that person died of a heart attack.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is unprecedented. Is this because this is such a popular, I don't want to use that word the wrong way, but that's what I mean, a popular subject? And financial incentives.
Yes. And like I said, this is not some sort of a moral indictment of sort of hospital administrators. It's just they're in a tough spot here. They actually don't have enough patients to pay everyone, without furloughing doctors and firing staff, and they're potentially going bankrupt. So then they're like, okay, well, the stimulus bill says if we get all this money if it's a COVID death, okay. They coughed before they died. In fact, they're not even diagnosed as COVID. They simply, if you had weakness, a cough, shortness of breath. Like, frankly, I'm not sure how you die without those things.
Yeah.
Right.
There's so many different things that you could attribute to COVID too. There's so many symptoms. There's diarrhea, headaches, dehydration, cough.
Yes, but to be clear, you don't even need to have gotten a COVID diagnosis. Right. You simply need to have had one of many symptoms, and then have died for some reason, and it's COVID. So then it makes the death count look very high, and then we're then stuck in a bind because it looks like the death count's super high and not going down like it should be. And now, so then we should keep whatever, keep the shelter-in-place stuff there, and keep people in their home, confine people in their homes. So we need to break out of this. We're stuck in a loop. And I think the way to break out of this loop is to have clarity of information.
Clarity of information will certainly help, but altering
perceptions,
public perception, from people that are basically in a panic.
There's a lot of, essentially,
at least a month ago, we're clearly in a panic. I mean,
right where, when you look around April 5th,
April 6th, people were really freaking out.
But here we are, May. In May, people are relaxing a little bit.
Yes.
They're realizing like, hey, I actually know a couple of people that got it. It was just a cough, and I know some people that got it where nothing happened.
I know a lot of people who got it. I know 0 people who died. I mean, I know a lot of people who got it.
Yeah, it's not what we feared. We feared something much worse.
Yeah, that's correct.
So the adjustment's difficult to make. So you said, first of all, we need real data. You need
just parse out the data. Don't lump it all together. And then, if you give people just parse out the data better, just clearer information about. Like I said, was this an actual COVID diagnosis, or was it or did they get the test and the test came back positive, or did they just have some symptoms? Just parse those two out, and then parse out just if somebody died, did they die? Did they even have a COVID test, or did they just have one of many symptoms? Like how do you die without weakness? I don't know.
Right.
It's impossible, basically.
Yeah, that's a good point.
If you're gonna die, you're gonna have shortness of breath, weakness, and maybe you might cough a little.
So was it quantified? What was it?
Yeah, did that person die? Did they actually have a COVID test? And the test come back positive? And then if they died, did they die where COVID was? It doesn't have to be the main cause, but it was a significant contributor to their death, or was it not a significant contributor to their death?
Right. It's not as simple as just because you had COVID killed you.
It's definitely not.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, people die all the time, and they have like flu and other colds, and we don't say that they died of those flu and other colds.
Well, that's what's so weird about this. It's so popular, and I use that word in a weird way, but it's so popular that we've kind of forgotten. People die of pneumonia every day. People die of the flu didn't take a break. Oh, COVID's got this. I'm gonna sit this one out. I'm gonna be on the bench. I'm gonna wait until COVID's done before I jump back into the game of killing people. No, the flu's still here, killing people.
I mean, every year in the world, several 100,000 people die directly of the flu.
Yeah.
Not tangentially.
Right.
Not every.
61,000 in this country last year.
Yeah, and we're only 5% of the world.
And then there's cigarettes.
So, oh man, cigarettes will really kill you.
That's a weird one, right? We're terrified of this disease, of this disease potentially killed 100, if not 200,000 Americans this year. With cigarettes, killed 500,000, and you don't hear a peep out of any politician. There's no one running for Congress that's trying to ban cigarettes. There's no one running for Senate that wants to put some education plan in place that's going to stop cigarettes in their tracks.
Yeah, I mean, long time, like several years ago. Maybe longer than 10 years ago, I helped make a movie called Thank You for Smoking.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah. Yeah. Barbecuing your lungs is bad. Barbecuing your lungs is not bad. Turning your lungs into smoked beef, not great. Yeah. But Tylenol also, by the way, also kills a lot of people.
Yeah, what is the number for Tylenol every year?
I'm not sure the exact number, but I believe it until the opioid crisis, I believe Tylenol was the number one killer of all drugs. Because basically it's if you get drunk and take a lot of Tylenol, acetaminophen, essentially it causes liver failure. So people would get wasted and then have a headache and then pop a ton of Tylenol curtains.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Curtains is a funny word.
Yeah. But nobody's raging against Tylenol.
Yeah. It's weird. Acceptable deaths are weird, and that's the slippery slope about this. People shaming people for wanting to go back to work. Other people are gonna die. Well, if you drive. Do you drive? Okay, well, you should stop driving because people die from driving. So you definitely should fill up all the swimming pools because 50 people die every day in this country from swimming. So let's not swim anymore.
Yeah, what is the really dangerous?
We need to chop down all the coconut trees.
Stop water.
Coconuts kill 150 people every year.
Yes.
Cut down all the coconut trees. We need those people.
Yes.
It's at a certain point in time. It's we're vulnerable, and we have a finite existence no matter what.
We do. Nobody lives forever.
Right.
I mean, I mean, I think you want to look at, say, deaths as like but for this disease, whatever, they would have lived X number of years.
Yeah.
You know, so if somebody dies when they're 20 and could have lived till 80, they lost 60 years. But if somebody dies when they're 80 and they might have lived till 81, they lost 1 year.
Yes.
So it's like how many life years were lost is probably the right metric to use.
I don't read my own comments, but I do read other people's comments. And I was reading this one little Twitter beef that was going on, where someone was saying that COVID takes an average years off people's lives, and we should appreciate those 10 years. And then someone else said, I'm sure it's not true.
Yeah, definitely.
It's the Twitter. It's the world. But someone else said, the average age of people who die from COVID is older than the average age people die.
It's very. Let's say it's like it's about the same.
That's a beautiful way of looking at it. I mean, it's unfortunate. It sucks, but it sucks if Grandpa dies of Alzheimer's or emphysema or leukemia. It sucks.
Sure.
It sucks when someone you love dies.
Yes.
But
I mean, actually, if this, I think a lesson to be taken here that I think is quite important is that if you have grandparents and their age of grandparents, really be careful with any kind of flu or cold or something that is not dangerous to kids or young adults, but is dangerous to the elderly. Basically, if your kid's got a runny nose, they should stay away from their grandparents. No matter what it is, it's the things that are where a young immune system has no problem and an older one has a problem.
Yes.
And in fact, a lot of the deaths are literally it's tragic, but they're intra-family. It's little kid had a cold or flu and
give it to grandpa.
They have the family gathering, and they don't know that this is a big deal, but it's just important to remember when you get old, your immune system's just not that strong, and so just be careful with your loved ones who are elderly.
And I think there is some true objective understanding of the immune system and the ways to boost that immune system, and I really think that information should be distributed in a way, a non-judgmental way, but like, look, this is a way that we can all, like, this is a scientifically proven way that we can boost our immune system, and it might save your life, and it might save the life of your loved ones, and maybe we could teach this to our grandparents and our parents and people that are vulnerable. Vitamin C, heat shock proteins, all these different variables that we know contribute to a stronger immune system.
Yeah, actually, just a thing that is tough. When you as you get older, it's hard to you tend to put on weight. Certainly that's happening with me. Like as the older I get, I'm like, damn, it's harder to stay lean. That's for sure. And so actually being overweight is a big deal.
Yeah.
It's a fact.
The New York hospital said it was the number one factor for severe COVID symptoms was obesity. It was the number one factor.
Yes, exactly.
But it's also, we live in a world where people want to be sensitive to other people's feelings. So
Absolutely.
We don't want to bring up the fact that being fat's bad for you. It's a judgment on your...
Food's great.
Yeah, I do love food.
Yeah, and I mean, to be totally frank, speaking for myself, I'd rather eat tasty food and live a shorter life.
Yeah, those moments of enjoying a great meal.
Yeah.
And then even talking about it, they're valuable. They're worth something. Yeah, it's not. We don't want to eat Soylent Green and live to be 160.
I don't want to eat. Tasty food is great. It's one of the best things about life.
It really is. Yeah, it's an art form as well. It's like, fine food. It's a delicious sandcastle. It's temporary. It doesn't last very long, but there's something about it that's very pleasing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean. I don't know what advice to give. maybe smaller, have the tasty food, but smaller amounts of it.
Yes. Yeah, and I think regulated feeding window is really the way to go. Some sort of an intermittent fasting approach.
Sure.
When I started doing that, I found myself to be quite a bit healthier. When I've deviated from that, I've gained weight.
So what's
16 hours.
Well,
I like
okay,
16
okay.
hours, yeah.
So like at night or?
Yeah. So I get to a certain point and then I count out. I usually hit the stopwatch on my phone, and then I look at 15 hours in. I'm like, okay, got an hour before I can eat.
Yeah.
And so anything in between that is just water or coffee.
Actually, like this may be a useful bit of advice for people, but eating before you go to bed is a real bad idea, and actually negatively affects your sleep.
Yeah.
And it can actually cause heartburn that you don't even know is happening, and that subtle heartburn affects your sleep because you're horizontal and your body's digesting. So if you want to improve the quality of your sleep, be healthier, it's do not eat right before we're going to sleep.
Yeah.
It's like one of the worst things you can do.
I did some of the biggest mistakes I've ever made. I've done that particularly after comedy shows. I'm starving. I'll come home and I'll eat, and then I go to bed and I just feel like shit. And I wake up in the middle of the night.
It's gonna crush your sleep, and it's gonna damage your pyloric sphincter and your esophagus, and it's so. In fact, drinking and then going to sleep that's one of the worst things you can do.
Yes.
So just try to avoid drinking and eating
booze.
Booze. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Don't small amounts of alcohol that evidence suggests it doesn't have a negative effect on
I put in the same category as delicious food. Kind of makes things a little more fun. I like it. I like it.
Some of the people who've lived the longest, was a woman in France who I think maybe has the record or close to it, and she had a glass of wine every day.
Yeah.
So small amounts is fine. This is like I learned this like quite late in life. It's like just avoid having alcohol and avoid eating
at least 2 or 3 hours before going to sleep, and your quality of life your quality of sleep will improve, and your general health will improve a lot.
For sure.
It's a big deal, and I think not widely known.
Do you have time to exercise?
A little bit.
Do you have a trainer or anything?
I do, although I haven't seen him for a while. But especially if I'm out, like say we're working on Starship or something in South Texas, and I'm just living in I've got a little house there in Boca Chica Village, and I don't have much to do, so or like I'm working and then I'll do just lift some weights or something. Maybe I don't. Some people love running. I don't love running. But
what do you like to do exercise-wise?
To be totally frank, I wouldn't exercise at all if I could. But if I prefer not to exercise. But if I'm going to exercise and lift some weights and then kind of run on the treadmill and maybe watch the show that if there's a compelling show that pulls you in.
Right. Yeah, that's a good thing to do. Yeah. Watch a good movie or episode of Black Mirror or something like that.
That's great.
Man, don't watch Black Mirror before going to bed either.
Well, don't watch Black Mirror today. It's too fucking accurate.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, wait, this already happened in real life.
Yeah, it's too close.
It's too close.
Well, didn't you say that the guy who makes Black Mirror?
Yeah, you said it's not a good time to start season 6.
Yeah, he wants to hold off because reality
he's nailed it.
Is Black Mirror.
Oh man,
it's like he's gonna have to like
reassess and attack it
from a different angle.
Yeah,
you should try something that's fun to do. That's not just like learn a martial art or something like that.
I did martial arts when I was a kid.
Did you? What'd you do?
Yeah. I did Taekwondo. I did karate, Kyokushinkai karate.
Oh, all right, cool.
And judo.
Also, you really branched out.
Yeah. And did Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu briefly.
Did you?
Yeah.
Where?
In Palo Alto.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, no shit. I was going to suggest that. That's a great thing for people. Like, that's a thing about jiu-jitsu. If you look at it from the outside, you think, oh, a bunch of meatheads strangling each other.
Sure.
But there's some of the smartest people I know are jiu-jitsu fiends because they first of all, they get introduced to it because usually either they want to exercise or learn some self-defense.
Sure.
But then they realize that it's essentially like a language with your body. Like you're having an argument with someone with some sort of a physical language. And it's really complex. And the more access to vocabulary and the sharper your words are, the more you'll succeed in these ventures.
Yeah.
That's really almost an accurate analogy of what jiu-jitsu is.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of got, I mean, probably like a lot of people, for the way early day, the first MMA fights in Royce Gracie, and it was like incredible.
Yes.
And it was like, just like, you
Technique.
Yeah. He was like, winning against people way bigger and that kind of thing. It was just like, oh, this is cool.
It was what martial arts were supposed to be when we were kids.
Yeah.
When you saw Bruce Lee fuck up all these big giant guys, it's like, wow, martial arts allow you to beat someone far bigger and stronger than you.
Right.
Most of the time, that's not real.
Especially if they know martial arts too.
Yeah.
it's like, oh no.
Yes, but in the Royce Gracie, off of his back was strangling Dan Severn with his legs. You're like, holy shit.
Yeah. This guy's being pinned by this big giant wrestler, and he wraps his legs
around his neck and chokes him to the point the guy has to surrender.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was amazing.
I mean, Royce got beaten up pretty bad in some of those.
He did. Well, he definitely had some rough fights.
But he won.
He won, yeah. He's a legend. But what it showed, and I mean, I'm a huge lover of jiu-jitsu. What it showed is that there is a method for
diffusing these situations with technique and knowledge. Yeah. And I think
it's also a great way to exercise too, because it's almost like the exercise is secondary to the learning of the thing. The exercise is like you want to develop strength and conditioning just so that you could be better at doing the thing.
Sure.
And the analogy that I use is like,
imagine if you had a race car and you could actually give the race car better handling and more horsepower just from your own focus and effort.
Sure.
That's really what it's like.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. When am I going to be able to...
My kids, I should say, I sent my kids to jiu-jitsu since they were like, I don't know, 6.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. It's a great thing to learn. It really is.
Seems like a good...
Yeah. Maybe something like, I mean, even if you just have someone who holds the pads for you, like you get a workout in and it'd be fun. When am I going to be able to buy one of them roadsters? When's that happening?
Well, I can't, say exactly when, but we got to get it. This COVID thing's kind of thrown us for a loop.
I'm sure.
Not to blame everything. It's certainly set us back on progress for some number of months.
Things we're going to get done ahead of Roadster are, ramping up Model Y production. That'll be a great car. It is a great car. Getting the Berlin Gigafactory built, and also building Y, expanding the Shanghai factory, which is going great.
Get the Cybertruck, semi-truck, Roadster. Roadster's kind of like dessert. So, like we gotta get the, meat and potatoes and greens and stuff.
But Roadster comes before Cybertruck.
I mean, I think we should do Cybertruck first before Roadster. Now
I'm not mad at that.
Some of the things for Roadster, they're the tri-motor plaid powertrain. We're gonna have that in Model S. So that's like one of the ingredients that's needed for
Roadster is the plaid powertrain.
The more advanced battery back, that kind of thing.
I wanted to ask you about this before I forgot. There's a company that's called Apex that's taking your Teslas and they're giving it a wider base and wider tires and a little bit more advanced suspension.
Sure.
How do you feel about that? Do you work with them? Are you cool with those people?
Yeah, I mean, I'm go ahead.
they're jazzing stuff up with carbon fiber and doing a bunch of interior choices. You're cool with it? You can't fuck with that. You don't have time. So is it good that someone comes along and has like a sort of specialty operation?
I got no problem.
That's what it's called, right? It's like, J-Mag, is it called Apex?
Yeah, I got a Unplugged Performance S Apex.
That's right, Unplugged Performance, yeah.
Yeah, you could for sure, lighten the car up and improve tire traction.
Have you seen that company's stuff? What they do?
I don't know specifically, but
it's pretty dope. Yeah, they make it pretty dope.
Looking, they take Model S and they widen it and give it a bunch of carbon fiber. That's it right there.
Cool.
Ooh la la, look at
That looks
that.
pretty nice.
Yeah, it does.
Now, the plaid version of the Model S, are you going to widen the track and do a bunch of different? I know you guys are testing at the Nürburgring. Can you not talk about that?
Well, I think we got to leave that for like a proper sort of product unveil.
I understand.
Yeah,
I understand. Last time you were here, you convinced me to buy a Tesla. I bought it, and it's fucking insane.
Oh, great! Glad you like it. It's pretty fun.
It's not just pretty fun. It's like the way I've described it is it makes other cars seem stupid. They just seem dumb. Like I love dumb things. I love dumb cars. Like I love campfires.
Yeah,
I love
totally.
campfires. I have a 1993 Porsche that's air cooled.
Sure.
It's like it's not that fast. It's really slow compared to the Tesla.
Yeah,
really
actually, it's really quite slow. But
but there's something engaging about the mechanical, just like the gears, and it's very analog. But it's so stupid in comparison to the Tesla. Like when I want to go somewhere in the Model S, I hit the gas and it just goes whee.
Yeah.
It like violates time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah, you've tried it like Ludicrous Plus and stuff
Oh,
like that.
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We just did a software update where it'll do a cheetah stance. So so it's because it's got a dynamic air suspension, so it lowers the back.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah, just like a sprinter basically.
Right.
Like sprinter, you like hunker down and then so it
shaped like 10 per second.
0 to 60. I mean, like
It is pretty fun.
So I've taken so many people, and I'm like, I take them for the holy shit moment. I'm like, are you ready? Like, hang on there, and then I stomp on the gas.
That I've never felt anything like it.
It's confusing.
Yeah.
It really is.
Sure.
The instant torque, and just the sheer
acceleration is baffling.
It's baffling.
It's baffling.
They've never felt it.
No.
It's faster than falling.
It's crazy. It's so fast. It's a roller coaster. Yeah. And my family yells at me
when I stomp the gas. Like
I tell my kids, I'm like, you want to
feel it? You want to feel it? Like, do it.
My wife's like, don't do it. Boom.
Yeah.
And even if I just do it on the highway for a couple of seconds,
it's very
fun.
Exciting.
Yeah. It's very
It's like
fun.
having a roller coaster on tap,
It really is like a roller coaster on tap.
Yeah.
Without the loop-de-loops. But it's the pinning to your seat. It seems like you're not supposed to be able to experience that from some sort of a consumer vehicle that you can
just a regular person could buy if they have the money. It seems too crazy.
And then the idea that this Roadster is a half of a second faster than that.
Yeah.
That's madness.
Well, with that Roadster, we're going to do some things that are kind of unfair. So we're going to take some things from kind of like Rocket World and put them on a car. So
I read about that. Explain that. What do you do?
Well, like I said, we can't. It's not going to be all right here, but it's going to do some things that are unfair. And when we do the unveil of the Roadster, let me just say that anyone who's been waiting, they won't be sorry. They won't be sorry.
Oh, sure. Well, anything that goes 0 to 60, what is it, 1.9? 1.9? What's the top of the food chain model? Okay. Faster than that. Let's just say faster than that.
Yeah.
That seems so crazy to me. Now, what was it like when the dude threw the steel balls at the window and they were supposed to not break and it broke?
Well, yeah, I mean,
I know extenuating circumstances.
You know that our demos are authentic. So I was not expecting that, and then I think I muttered under my breath. Like, holy shit.
Yeah. You didn't get mad though.
No,
you didn't Steve Jobs it.
No, I definitely swore. But I didn't think the mic would pick it up, but it did. But so, like, we practiced this, behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Like at Tesla, we don't do like tons of practice for our demos because we're working on the cars. Like we're building new technologies and improving the fundamental product. So we're not spending doing like hundreds of practice things or anything like that. We don't have time for that. But just hours before the demo, both Franz, head of design, and I were in the studio throwing steel balls at the window. I'm like, okay, seems pretty good. Seems like we got it. Okay. And then we think what happened was that when Franz hit the door with the sledgehammer, sure, like this is like exoskeleton, high strength hardened steel. You can literally wind up with a sledgehammer, full on double-handed sledgehammer, and hit the door, and there's not even a dent. It's cool. But we think that cracked the corner of the glass at the bottom. And then once you crack the corner of the glass, then it's game over. So then when you threw the ball, that's what cracked.
So in hindsight, it didn't go through. That's true. It didn't shatter the whole thing like a regular window would either, which would just dissolve, right? So in hindsight, the ball should have been first, the sledgehammer second. You live, you learn.
Yeah, exactly.
Listen, man, we've taken up a lot of your time. You had a child recently. It's amazing that you had the time to come down here, and I really appreciate that. I appreciate everything you do. I'm glad you're out there, and I really appreciate you coming down here and sharing your perspective.
Well, I think you got a great show. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. My pleasure. My pleasure. Elon Musk, ladies and gentlemen. Good night. Good night. Good night. Good night. Good night.
All right, that's good.
Yo, your boy couldn't have timed that ending any better. Damn, your boy could not have timed that ending any better. What a professional. What a goddamn professional that Don is. My goodness, how does he do it? Night after night, night on night. How many nights in a row? So many nights in a row he doesn't even know anymore. He doesn't even know anymore. His calves are they're like those things that smashed out Tesla. What was it? Was it a ball of some kind? I think it's like those things that Miley Cyrus was using as a transportation device. But she never got very far. She'd get that far that direction, then she'd come back again. Eventually she thought, damn, I should have got a goddamn Uber. But still, that's what my calves look like. They look like one of them. They look like one of those things, my goodness. My goodness, they do. What up, Grey Flower? Says my brain grew 3 sizes bigger during that stream. Oh, man, just like the Grinch's pants. Just like the Grinch's pants. You ever do that thing? I used to do it well. I don't know if you got any kids or not. I used to do this thing. Hercules used to get me to read the Grinch to him so much. So much you get me to read the Grinch to him, And you get bored of reading the Grinch, so you start, substituting words with other words. You know what I mean? So I'd substitute every other word with, ass or poop. Something like that. Willy. The Grinch's Willy grew 3 sizes that day. Yeah, those are the days. Those are the days. Shouts out to everyone who's locked in. What did we just do? What would you describe that as? You would describe that as a live soundtracking of a podcast, I guess. That was, how long was that? That was nearly 3 hours. I would say it looks like it was the least popular stream of all time because there was 0 super chats. I think it was an argument in the middle. So I don't know if we'll be doing that again. But it was cool because I got to listen to the whole podcast. I might not have had time otherwise. Derna 1804 says a ball bearing. Yeah. Toast 1012 says thank you, Akira. Thank you. Grey Flower said that thing about his brain. Michael in Seattle said Iron Man on JRE, everybody. There was. Notice the bit where he said he actually wanted an Iron Man house. Good for him. Yeah. Biological Bootloader says wow. Derna 1804 dropped lots of wave emojis. Ras Christofare. You changed your name again, my guy. Yeah, yes. What about Swallowed Australia says meeting stream 53. You could have been a tree. Yeah, Treelon Musk. You could have been a Treelon Musk. That's what you could have been a. Could have been a tree. You could have been a bee. Elon Musk, on Musk, a bee on Musk. No, that one doesn't work. Grey Flower says, let me ban my car. The right to bear cars. Hey, Andrew Kamarami broke the super chat curse. Said, please do this again. Please do this again. I don't know, man. It seems like you're the only person who likes it. You know. But it was fun. Because what's interesting about it is, like, you're in there and you're, like, finding the rhythm of conversation without being able to, you can't manipulate it like you can when you're making a record, you know what I mean? So you just have to kind of work with what's there. At one point, I was like, ooh, I could use the space bar as a pause situation. That was quite cool. But then I was like, if I keep doing this, it'll make the whole thing like 9 hours long. So I better chill on that, you know? I noticed there was the one song I noticed was the one I'd already noticed. So like I saw the obvious song in there, and that's the one I already did today. There was a couple of other small moments. So I would say it's not like the last one. The last one was like, holy shit, this is an album. For me, that was not an album. But there was some really cool stuff in there. John Grady, Elon is good or evil? Car in space, real or fake? These are big questions, and I don't know. I don't have the answers. I would say I don't think Elon's evil, like my sort of gut or whatever. But I've never met him in real life. Maybe he's got some, like, you know, wizardry of being able to hide his true form via internet. I don't know. I've never met him in real life. So it's hard to know if you haven't been in a room with someone. But through digital thing, I get only good vibes off him. You know, and normally I'm pretty good at judging that type of thing. Normally I'm pretty good. Hentai Warhol Z says, my temper tax. Were you having a fight, Hentai Warhol Z? Were you having a fight in my comments section? Were you having a fight in my chat? Yo, the chat is not for fighting. If it was a club, I would have had to eject you. But I didn't have to eject you because my YouTube hero Alex was regulating the vibes. Shouts out to YouTube hero Alex, regulating the vibes. What up, Word XP? Says, will you drill your skull and get Neuralink, Akira? Will I drill my skull? Well, here's one way of looking at it. I wear clothes. Will you wear clothes? Eskimo, caveman, you caveman. Will you put on the loincloth and brave the slightly colder areas and go against your true nature? You know? And be like, I don't know. It depends how I'm feeling at the day. Maybe I like the cave I've got, or maybe I'll chill in my cave. Depends how I'm feeling. Maybe I'll go off on that adventure. Maybe I'll just go on the full-blown adventure and drill a great big effing hole in my skull and go to Mars. I don't know. We'll see on the day. But, you know, I got a song about this coming up with your boy John Vivaki. Oops. Anyway. It was obvious I was going to do that shit. And, you know, he's got this whole thing about being a natural-born cyborg. He's like, human beings are natural-born cyborgs, and they are. That's why we're up here, straddling the top of the dominance hierarchy. Like, you know what I mean? Where's my camera? Oh, it's not on. You know what I mean? Straddling that thing like a goddamn donkey. Yo, because we natural-born cyborgs. We've always been cyborgs. Ever since we picked up a rock and yeeted it in someone's face. We were cyborgs ever since we put on a pair of pants. You know, ever since we got up and screwed on them pants. Same as everyone else. We've been natural-born cyborgs from dot. You know what I mean? It's just mad explicit now. Like your boy says, you got a phone, you already in that zone, Holmes. You know what I mean? You already a cyborg. You know what I mean? You already use that thing like a second brain or a mother. You know what I mean? And shouts out to whoever, you know, there's certain people who are like, who stay on the Nokia, you know? Certain people stay on the Nokia. Shouts out to Adam Curry. You know what I mean? He stays in that Nokia vibe. The podfather. You know, and we got some people in the chat. I think I saw some other people in the chat who are on that vibe, and good for you, man. Shouts out to you, because it might be this is a terrible mistake. You know, and we all we all mess ourselves up. And it'll be down to you guys to carry on civilization, you know, but you gotta take chances, man. You gotta be brave. You know what I mean? Otherwise you'd never had the internet. You know, otherwise we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be doing this thing. We wouldn't be discussing and transmuting and conversating. You know what I mean? We wouldn't be regulating the vibes in this fashion had some people not been brave and, like, you know, stepped out there into the cyborg world and gone against, you know, other people would be saying, no, that's not godly. Do not do that. Some people would have said, that's witchcraft. That rooster, scream, that noise, that's evil noise. That's obviously the sound of the devil. Hey, maybe it is. I don't know. But it's a funny thing, like, back to your question, my friend, John Grady. Like, I look at Bill Gates, and I don't trust that guy. That guy creeps me out. I feel his clammy skin through the screen. You know what I mean? That's the kind of guy that haunt your dreams. That's that Freddy through the telephone. You know what I mean? That's that striped jumper. You know what I mean? That's that, like, sticking a big gross tongue through a telephone and licking the side of your face type vibe. I don't get that vibe I feel him. I get a nice vibe I feel him. You know, maybe he's a sneaky guy. Maybe he's super sneaky at controlling the vibes. But I don't know, man. Like, certain people, you know what I mean? You just know they're wrong. I don't get that one from your boy Elon. That's why I done an album. You know, that's why I done an album. I wouldn't be, like, deliberately tainting the wave with bad vibes. You know what I mean? I get good vibes off Elon. I get good vibes off Elon. Elon makes me excited to be alive. You know what I mean? He makes me excited for the future. You know what I mean? I from what he says and how he acts in the world, he comes across as a pro-human sort of superhero type. You know what I mean? He's that kind of a figure. He's that kind of a Tony Stark type of a guy, you know. And I said this some many years ago. I was like, you're better stop messing with your boy Elon, because this is how you create a supervillain. We're witnessing an origin story right now, and it could go one of two directions, mofo. You know, it could go, it could go Reed Richards, or it could go the Maker. You know the Maker? Like, that's a Marvel character from a different universe where Reed Richards from the Fantastic Four went evil, basically, and he's evil. You know, all of that brain power, all of the smarts of Reed Richards goes into a diabolical package because some shit happened that sent him spinning off in the wrong direction, baby. So we've all got a part to play in this, you know what I mean? Everyone's all like, personal responsibility and all that, but we all have the personal responsibility to not make monsters where unnecessary, you know? John Grady says, I'm afraid the Antichrist will be beautiful and smart. Yeah, well, that's what it says. I don't know if I'd call Elon beautiful. He's a funny-looking fellow. But he is smart. He is smart, you know. I had the last Uber drive I took. The last one I took before that world paused. You know, the guy was giving me his full-down biblical reading thing. And he believed that Satan was amongst us, you know, that predicted Antichrist from the Revelations. You know, the smart cookie, the beautiful one. But the thing is, though, as long as I've been alive, people have been saying that guy's alive and he's somebody specific, and it always lines up. You know, people thought he was Bam Bam. People previously thought it was Bam Bam, right? Your boy Bam Bam Bama. Bam Bam Obama. That guy. You know, what was his motto? Faith in the thing. What was it? Trust the process. What was his motto? I forgot it. He had a motto. Hope. Yes, we can. What was it? Shit. Anyway, that guy, a lot of people were saying that guy was the Antichrist, you know? A lot of people were saying the previous Pope was the Antichrist. I remember them days. People thought the previous Pope was the Antichrist. Like, every generation, ever since those biblical times, has fancied itself to be the generation that will face revelations. Like, when they wrote the Bible, they thought that shit was coming in a couple weeks. It wasn't like in 100 years. They were like, that's going to be happening next month. The guy's coming back. You know, he's coming back and it's going to be savage. You know what I mean? And you could sit there and you could go, holy shit, like, everything in Revelations is happening right now. There was even a goddamn plague of locusts. But there usually is. There's always biblical shit going on. You know, this is a biblical world. This is a biblical existence. It's never boring. There's never been a period in recorded human history where shit has just been chill. You know what I mean? That ain't never happened. It has never been chill. Zero chill. It is always hectic. It is always mad events occurring. And you could be like, yeah, but this is real crazy. Yeah, but that's what we said last time. We always say that. Then it gets more crazy. You just kind of get used to the levels and then it ratchets up. You know what I mean? So, shit. My personal vibe is that, I think we're just at the beginning of our journey. You know? I just think we're just at the beginning. And I'm mad excited for the future. And I think it's a beautiful day to be alive here at the peak of recorded human civilization. Yes, I do. And when I say recorded human civilization, I say that for a reason. You know why. You know why. Civilizations can mess up, man. Civilizations could get super far along and then just yeet themselves out of the records. You wouldn't even know they've been there. Thousands of them, come and gone. You know what I mean? Get to a certain point, mess it up. Psh. Could we be the ones that don't mess it up? I think we could. I do. But I do understand we're on a precipice. Shit. And I do understand. Charming, funny-looking fellow like your boy Elon could be leading us down a road. Could be. Shit, I don't know. I'll report back when I've met the guy, you know? We'll see. We shall see. But anyway, appreciate you guys. Appreciate you guys. Let's check in. Hey, let's check in on the campaign. Let's check in on that campaign. Yeah, where is it? Where is that campaign? Where is it? Is it this camera? Oh, there you go. Oh, I don't know why it's stretched. There you go. Come back. Don't you distort my lovely album artwork on my lovely Indiegogo page. You swining thing. You swineherd. I don't know why swineherd is a diss. You know what I mean? That basically just means like farmer. You know what I mean? They're good. Anyway, so let's have a look where we're at. We're at 52%. We was at 52% of our goal on What's Wave 6, the epic album. It's a brilliant album. It's coming out very soon. It's being made available on vinyl for the first time because you asked for it. Hey, 56%! Yo! Yo! Where's my shush music? We have to celebrate with the crowd sounds. Yeah, baby! Look at that. We on 56% of our goal. Whoa, whoa, whoa. 51 backers. Yes, yes, we do. Shouts out to everyone who's backed this campaign. You're very much appreciated. You know, it's a nerve-wracking thing doing a campaign. You know, nerve-wracking thing doing a campaign. When you're out your comfort zone, you're not used to doing campaigns. You're like, ooh, is this the right thing to do? I was comfortable how I was, just putting things out on Spotify and Bandcamp. That was cool. I knew how to do that, but shit. Hence, I Warhol Z. If you chilled out, he says, I'll never Facebook again. Facebook is very annoying. Facebook is very annoying. You know, I don't Facebook. I mean, I have, I think it's just cross-post from Instagram to there, and I forget it exists, then I go there, and then I have loads of messages, and I feel bad. Because some people are there, that's where they live. It's not their fault they live in a shithole. You know what I mean? Like, what was that time your president got in trouble about your boy, the president of America land, got in trouble for calling some countries shitholes? Like, I always think of the internet as shitholes. I mean, as countries. Like, YouTube is a country. You know what I mean? This is a country. Like, Facebook a country. Oh, I forgot to switch Facebook on tonight, didn't I? See, I totally forget about Facebook. Twitter's a country. You know what I mean? Some people only live in one country. They never go to the other ones. And some of the countries are shitholes. Some of them are run by weirdo, creepy tyrants. You like, here you go. Here's an example. You know what I was saying? Like, I don't get bad vibes off Elaine. Yeah. Your sweaty-faced flipping alien boy Zuckerberg. Yo, that guy, that's another one. You can just feel the clammy skin through the screen. You can just, ugh. Like, I feel I could look at a picture of him and get the Tom Hanks disease. You know what I mean? It could just jump through the screen and like the face hugger in Alien. You know what I mean? Just like floop, floop. That's why I try not to look at pictures of Mark Zuckerberg. And if one happens to come on one of my feeds, you know, I scroll past that thing quick just in case it jumps out the screen and infects me. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I don't really be messing with Facebook like that. You know, but some people are there. You know what I mean? That's the thing. Like, it's not necessarily the people's fault that they live in a shithole. You know what I mean? They were born there. Maybe they don't know anything else. I don't think my father could understand any other aspect of the internet, it seems. You know, he just on Facebook posting, like, what do they call silver memes or something? Like, literally his memes have, like, silver meme written on them. He's just posting old people memes. Bless my father. He's really enjoying becoming a cantankerous old git. Because, like, I think that's what he always was deep in his soul, you know? So he's pretty happy now. He used to be cantankerous. Now he's happy being cantankerous and just posting boomer memes. Or, like, what's the thing before a boomer? I think he technically was a boomer. He was born in the late 50s. Anyway, his memes are terrible. Terrible memes. Terrible memes. You know, if you ever find yourself living in a shotgun shack, be glad. But if you ever find yourself posting boomer memes on Facebook, that's when you should unplug the IVU, you know what I mean? So to speak. So to speak. And if you ever catch me doing that, you know what I mean? You ever catch me posting boomer memes, just shoot me, baby. You know, you have permission. Shoot me. Anyway, boom, I gotta get the hell out of here and go do something useful with my life. I got music to make. Music to make, baby. You know what I mean? Music to make. We listened to the Elon podcast all the way through, and there was one song in it. So I'm gonna make that song. I started it earlier. I'm gonna finish it. I'm gonna finish it, goddammit. I'm gonna finish it. What's that? People are refusing to shoot me. But like, if you loved me, would you not like do as I asked? You know what I mean? See, John Grady, he's down. I'm sorry, Akira, you made me do this. He's very happy. He's like excited. Yo. Yeah. Anyway, listen up, right? I gotta get out of here. I gotta skedaddle. But don't you be worrying about nothing, baby. Like, if these, these evil, like, supervillain types that all of the theories talk about and always have, I ain't ever for a second going to say these don't exist. We know people like that exist and always have, and they do. But if they were as smart and as powerful as they think they are, they'd have had this whole situation wrapped up a long time ago. You know what I mean? And they haven't. And they haven't. And they never will. Because there is always balance. You know what I mean? And every action has an unintended consequence that balances out the intended consequence. You know? Like I said, a knife has many uses. A knife can be used to spread jam on a scone. You know what I mean? Or a piece of toast. And it can also be used to shank a sweaty creepazoid in the head. You know what I mean? And that's that, baby. I believe that humanity is wonderful and at the beginning of its journey. And great things await us, brothers and sisters. And I pray for only great things for you. And I pray for only great things for you. And I pray for only great things for you. That little Hercules has been slacking on his by-five duties. You're just spending all this time playing with that little girl Siren. You know what I mean? Just playing with that little girl Siren. I gave him a computer today, and then it stopped working. God damn it. You know, I felt bad. I stayed up all night, like, wiping this computer and making it all ready for him, and it worked, and then it stopped working today. Computers are unreliable. Hercules! I don't think you're getting no by-five from Hercules today. Maybe it's not enough diamonds. Not enough diamonds in the goddamn chat. Anyway, God bless you. Want to know I love you guys. I'll be back tomorrow with something different. Always something different. Oh, here he is. Ah. Yeah, come over here. Come over here. What is going on with you?
I'm playing with Siren. Shout out to her and Mum's YouTube channel. Because they do have a YouTube channel.
Oh, what's her mum's YouTube channel?
I forgot.
Okay, well, you can tell us next time. All right, bye 5 time.